is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by DEA Take Back Day.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A 2-week ceasefire runs out tomorrow, and suspense is building over whether the U.S. and Iran will meet for another round of talks in Pakistan.
Now we have to get it done.
President Trump tells the John Fredericks radio show if Tehran doesn't show up at the table,
they're going to see problems like they've never seen before.
He threatens lots of bombs start going off. CBS's Bradley Blackburn.
Vice President J.D. Vance is set to lead the U.S. delegation, but Iran still hasn't formally agreed to talks. Iran's parliamentary speaker warned, "We do not accept negotiations under the shadow of threats, and we have prepared to reveal new cards on the battlefield."
Iran is demanding immediate release of a cargo ship the U.S. seized over the weekend. Mexican officials are investigating why, after a gunman went on a rampage at the famed Teotihuacan site, killing a Canadian tourist and injuring 13 others, including 6 Americans. CBS's Jerika Duncan.
The shooting happened at the pyramids about 30 miles north of Mexico City. This video that's been circulating online, you can actually hear the gunshots as tourists are seen dropping down near the Pyramid of the Moon.
The gunman shot himself to death. We're learning about a close call near the airport in Nashville.
507, turn right heading 110.
Right turn heading 110, Southwest 507.
Air traffic control as 2 Southwest jets were forced to take evasive action to avoid potential disaster. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Gusty winds near the Nashville airport Saturday prompted the pilots of Southwest Flight 507 from Myrtle Beach to abort their landing and go around. Air traffic control directed the plane to turn to the right, putting it on a potential collision course with another Southwest 737.
The FAA is investigating. The ex-wife of Long Island's Gilgo Beach serial killer, Rex Heuermann, says he told her everything.
Peacock has released an excerpt of its new documentary in which Asa Ellerup recalls her husband confessing to her.
Can you please tell me how many of these women did you kill? He said 8.
8? Was there any hesitation when he said 8?
No, he just told me the answer.
Heuermann told her he killed all but one of the women in their house while Ellerup was away on vacations. Heuermann pleaded guilty to the murders earlier this month. Michael Wallace, CBS News, New York.
Things are heating up pretty quickly overseas. CBS's Vicki Barker.
The Lancet's latest annual tally finds heat-related deaths have doubled in Europe in the past 3 decades, and days when outdoor workers and the elderly are warned not to venture outside.
Those days have increased by about 300%.
Co-author Joachim Rockleff.
This is CBS News.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com.
It is 6:03, and right now we've got mostly clear skies, 52 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The forecast is even better. We'll have it for you. AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg coming up in just about 7 minutes. In St. Louis City in 2023, water rates were raised by about 40%. Now they're set to rise again. 18% each of the next 2 years and 6% over the 3 after that, according to a new proposal from the Water Division. Aldermanic President Megan Green says it's too costly to justify installing water meters across the city, but did float this.
We probably need to look at some of those, large load users a little bit more carefully and look at some of the rates that they are charged. Absolutely.
She adds the Water Division needs to raise rates in order to remain solvent.
St. Louis County Police are charging a 20-year-old woman in connection with a recent Steak and Shake drive-through murder. Jada Bell is facing 3 charges, including first-degree murder of 32-year-old Chauncey Meekins, and is being held on $1 million cash-only bond. The shooting occurred in early April at the Steak and Shake in the 11,000 block of Bell Fountain Road. County police say Bell had a dispute with the workers, threw a drink at Meekins through the drive-through window. When Meekins threw the drink back at Bell, Bell then allegedly shot Meekins several times. A second victim was shot in the hand during the dispute.
Also this morning in the news,
it will be condemned probably later on as soon as the drug results are officially sent down to City Hall.
That's St. Louis Police Major Michael Mueller on the Fur Smoke Shop and Market at Jefferson and Arsenal, which is boarded up following Sunday night's double shooting. 2 people were injured, 1 critically.
St. Louis police seized gambling machines, a large quantity of marijuana, chocolate bars with THC, and an AR-15 rifle with a high-capacity magazine. Major Michael Mueller says the building is being condemned because the owner, who had not been located as yet, is not licensed to sell marijuana products.
When you have a high-capacity, a rifle with a high-capacity magazine, you already had a shooting here. You have a park right across the street, families on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, it could have went really bad for everybody.
The alderwoman for the area, Alicia Saunier, saw to it that the first smoke shop was boarded up immediately. As to who that owner is, police will not say. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
St. Louis's Civilian Oversight Board met last night, stripped of its authority to investigate police misconduct with no clear path forward. The state's police board attorney said in February the question of civilian oversight is already settled. This is attorney Chris Gravel to the police board.
I do not believe, it is my legal opinion as general counsel, that we can have a citizen review board in the context of the way it was done before, where they reviewed officer cases.
Board member Sierra Simrel has been watching police board meetings on YouTube. She's been tracking how the state board is building its own complaint and discipline process. She told the COB last night.
I don't feel like it's a negotiable item that should be taken off of the table for the citizens of St. Louis.
The state board's Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee meets at 2 today.
The firing of St. Louis Public Schools Superintendent Keisha Scarlett is headed to court. Here's KMOX's Michael Calhoun with more.
Her side of the story is that she was a whistleblower. She argues in her lawsuit that she was pushed out after reporting financial problems that came before she got there, including thousands of unpaid vendor invoices and millions in outstanding debts. She says the board then locked her out of her email, barred her from district property, and held her termination hearing without giving her a fair chance to defend herself. The district has declined to comment.
The Missouri Charter Public School Commission is revoking the charter for St. Louis Voices Academy of Media Arts in the Park Pacific building. This action comes 5 months after the school was placed on probation.
The commission cites several reasons for the revocation: lack of certified teachers and staff, security concerns, and questions about the financial viability of the school. In the last 5 months, the commission says SLVA has failed to take sufficient remedial steps to have the probationary status removed. And these failures and the continued deterioration in the school's governance and operations reflect an ongoing inability to meet even the most basic requirements expected of a public school entrusted with public funds. The commission adds St. Louis Voices Academy was given many opportunities to remedy these deficiencies and showed that they can operate a safe and compliant school, but have failed. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk, a pause on KSDK becoming part of Fox 2 and KPLR. A federal judge has blocked Nexstar's $6 billion acquisition of fellow broadcaster Tegna. The preliminary injunction will be in place while the attorneys general of 8 states investigate an antitrust complaint. Nexstar says it will appeal the ruling. The FCC waived a cap that bars companies from owning stations that reach more than 39% of households. This combined company would reach more than 80% of households. The merger got the blessing of President Trump. After Nexstar pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air, the federal judge said stopping the deal is in the public interest.
Well, you're probably interested to know if there are any problems on the roadways and what the weather is going to be like today, so we'll do all of that next. It's 6:08.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3. First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us, there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan, or thepeople.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I never thought of myself as the type to settle down. Never knew where the team's next lunch was coming from. But then I met you, Easy Cater.
Workplaces everywhere are saying, I do want delicious food at work. And they're ordering from beloved restaurants with Easy Cater.
You were reliable. You had great options for every budget, even when marketing ops did keto again. We got through that together. With you, it's just so easy. Easy Cater, will you keep showing up at my workplace forever?
Find love at first lunch. Order at easycater.com.
In digital advertising, everyone talks about clicks, but clicks don't pay the bills. Sales do. Outcomes from Viant is a new way to advertise that prioritizes your bottom line. Our AI-driven technology looks past the noise to find the customers most likely to buy your product. It's smarter, faster, and designed for real-world results. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Beat the spring cleaning rush at Zero Res. This week, buy one room of carpet, get one cleaned for free. Unlimited rooms and whole system air duct cleaning for just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
Let's head to Frank Ladd. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Tom, if you're headed towards Forest Park eastbound on Highway 64, coming around the bend from McCausland, you're going to hit the brakes there. It looks like the right lane is blocked with what they called out as a crash. MoDOT's calling it a stall, but the right lane is blocked. Lots of emergency vehicles on the scene as you're coming around the bend towards Oakland, approaching Hampton. That's eastbound on Highway 64. A few more headlights and taillights as well. Northbound on Highway 270, making your way up from Highway 55 through Highway 44. Certainly delay-free through that stretch, just more volume as well. Headed north of Highway 44, headed up towards Highway 64. And we've thinned out through that road construction zone. That's the good news. Eastbound on Highway 70 now between Wright City and Wentzville. Our next traffic update at 6:20. Frank Ladd at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A nice day today. Sunshine through some high clouds at times. A breezy, warmer afternoon, high 83. Mainly clear and mild tonight, low 58. Mostly sunny and warm tomorrow, high 80. Thursday, partly sunny, breezy and warm, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now, it is mostly clear and 52 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
It's 6:12. Those in the market for a new appliance may be able to save some money this week.
Trish Vincent of the Missouri Department of Revenue says the annual Show Me Green sales tax holiday continues through April 25th.
You can save the sales tax on appliances that are Energy Star certified, $1,500 on each appliance.
Vincent says it's a great week for anyone in the market for a new Energy Star appliance and notes many retailers will offer sales to draw in more customers. Sue Danielson, MissouriNet.
She does recommend checking the Department of Revenue's website first to see which appliances qualify.
With all the uproar from citizens about data centers, the mayor and city council of Granite City are being proactive by addressing concerns before there's a real proposal on the table. Has Mayor Mike Parkinson been watching what's happening elsewhere?
Well, sure. I mean, look, the past is always the best prediction of the future. And if you don't protect yourself from the, the pitfalls that we've seen in other communities.
Tonight, the city council will discuss a number of regulations regarding noise pollution and more. There was a parcel of land being looked at as a potential data center site.
And they do that based off of where they can get the utilities from the power company. So they do their research with the utility companies around the areas, and they find where there's enough power generation that they can get the supply that they need.
Parkinson says as far as electric usage goes, a data center would get power off the grid, which affects every community on that grid. He's hoping the president and governor address that issue, making data centers pay for their own power.
Also,
I fear that we are going to kill something that we all want for largely solvable reasons.
That is former Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer, who says the concerns surrounding the use of water, energy, and land for new data centers are all solvable. Talking with Chris and Amy on KMOX, Richer suggested centers could be forced to internalize the costs of water and energy. He says that wouldn't impact consumer costs and is something other developments do all the time. On the issue of land, he suggested a much simpler approach.
Just don't put it in the middle of downtown St. Louis. Don't put it like right next to the Arch. And isn't that just a zoning problem?
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Cool Ball. CJ McCollum scored 32 points to help the Hawks rally for a 107-106 victory over the Knicks in hostile New York to tie their East first-round series at 1 game apiece.
I am no villain. I'm a nice guy with 2 kids and a wife.
I think it's admiration.
Victor Wembanyama of the Spurs became the first unanimous selection as the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, Jordan Martinook beat Linus Ullmark from the slot at 13:53 of the second overtime to help the Hurricanes beat the Senators 3-2 for a 2-0 East first-round series lead. John Career broke the Boston Marathon course record in 2 hours, 1 minute, 52 seconds for his second straight men's race victory. Sharon Lokedi joined her fellow Kenyan as a back-to-back champion, winning the women's race in 2:18:51. Gethin Coolbaugh, AP Sports.
Let's turn our attention to the Cardinals, who fell 5-3 last night at Miami. 4 runs charged to Michael McGreevy, and the Cardinals this time could not catch up. They've had 7 comeback wins this year, but it wasn't to be this time. Here's Ollie Marmol, Cardinals manager, downstairs with Chip Caray.
Well, Ollie, tonight you manufactured some runs, but just not enough of them.
No, not enough. I felt like their starter did a really nice job. We had a tough time picking up the sweeper, swung and missed quite a bit. So credit to him. But at the end of the day, we just couldn't put enough quality at bats together to get some going there. Took a shot at the end, but came up short.
Jordan, he's been slugging home runs with the best of them. He manufactured a couple of runs and created some offense in a different way today. That's always a great sign of growth and good to see.
No doubt. And he came in and he said he had a tough time seeing the sweeper in that first at bat. So you have to make an adjustment, get a little shorter, let it get deeper. But it's good to kind of hear him talk through some of these situations and continue to improve at them. Because at the end of the day, I mean, it's early on. So the better we get at that, the better we'll be.
Your thoughts on Michael today?
Yeah, Greavy did a nice job, especially you got 6 lefties in there. I thought he navigated them well. First time through, got ahead of a lot of guys, kept them on the ground. Third time through, fell behind several of them, ended up costing them. But the 2 walks ended up scoring, a couple ground balls get through. The homer was hit well, but at the end of the day, I thought he gave us a good look.
And another positive defense. Fermin's catch in center was great, and Mason Wynn's throw to the plate.
Yeah, the relay there was great at the plate. Walker getting out at third as well. You got Fermin making a nice play in center. I thought overall the guys continue to not let the other team take advantage of situations like that. So we've done a nice job there.
Tough way to end a streak, but let's start a new one tomorrow.
That's Chip Caray on Cardinals TV with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Let's take a little look around baseball and see how the division races are going. The NL Central is easily the best one. The Reds are 15-8, and they lead the division by a game and a half over the Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Pirates. All of those teams are 13-9, with the Brewers in last place, and they're 12-9. 2 games out of first in the NL Central. In the East, the Braves are dominating the competition. The Marlins, who beat the Cardinals last night, moved to a game under 500 at 11-12. They're in second place, 5 games out. The Braves are 16-7 on the season. They've won 6 in a row, only to be topped by the Dodgers, who have the best record in the National League with a 16-6 mark. Just a game behind them in the NL West, the Padres at 15-7, and the Diamondbacks at 13-9 are 3 out. Your leaders in the American League, the Yankees in the East, the Guardians in the Central, and the A's in the West, 12-11, a half game better than the Rangers. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Redbird Report was sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's
worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterey, along with Tom Ackerman, and Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, this report is sponsored by i3 Broadband. You're going to hit the brakes now at Big Bend, eastbound on Highway 64, approaching the accident scene at Oakland Avenue, just past the Oakland Avenue overpass there. It's over on the right lane, right shoulder, so the two left lanes are squeezing by, but there's a lot of emergency equipment on the scene there. That's eastbound Highway 64 at Oakland. Westbound 64 crossing the Poplar. We are delay-free so far this morning. A little more volume headed northbound on Highway 55, approaching the road construction zone down in South County, approaching South City. Spring is here. Time to toss out that dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're springing forward with our longest price guarantee ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. Our next traffic update at 6:30. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says we're going to have a beautiful day today. High clouds at times, breezy and warmer. A high of 83 degrees with sunshine. Clear tonight, low 58. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine. And pleasantly warm with a high of 80. Currently, we have a mostly clear sky, 54 downtown.
The news continues at 6:22. The war in Iran has rattled a lot of markets, but Wall Street, at least for now, isn't one of them.
Because the market for the last year or so has really been focused on data center build out. And data center, yeah, it's reliant on energy, but that sort of is a secondary. We'll figure that out down the road.
Washington University economist John Horn says investors are still largely focused on the tech sector, especially the boom in data centers, but he warns that could shift quickly the more ceasefire negotiations fall apart.
We think the ceasefire is going to hold, so stock prices increase, but then the ceasefire may not hold, so the stock prices go down. So there's just a lot of uncertainty going on.
Patel has fired dozens of career law enforcement agents simply because they were assigned to work on investigations related to President Trump.
Illinois Senior Senator Dick Durbin on the Senate floor calling for replacement of FBI Director Kash Patel.
These firings have deprived the FBI of decades of experience at a time when our nation is facing growing threats not only at home but overseas. And Director Patel has timed these politicized purges to shield himself from allegations of misconduct.
Durbin says following Patel's embarrassing behavior at the Olympics and whistleblower disclosures to the senator's office describing how Patel's misuse of FBI aircraft has negatively impacted high-profile criminal investigations, Durbin is accusing Patel of firing even more people from the FBI in an attempt to save face.
Bills pending in the Missouri House and Senate call for clinical trials of psychedelics for veterans and first responders with PTSD and other mental illnesses.
Started taking, doing the pill route, going to therapy at the VA, and it just wasn't working. And the first time I was suicidal was while I was undergoing all this treatment.
That is former Top Gun Navy pilot Trey Warren of Wildwood, who says psilocybin worked for him. Dina Ladd with Modern Health Coalition is hopeful that an executive order signed by President Trump over the weekend will help move the Missouri bills along. It calls for $50 million to go to states that have enacted or are developing programs to advance psychedelic drugs for serious mental illness.
St. Louis County Prosecutor Melissa Price Smith is unveiling a program called IDP, Infraction Diversion Program. It's designed to provide eligible people with constructive alternatives to traditional penalties for minor traffic and municipal offenses. Price Smith says the IDP reflects a commitment to restorative justice by addressing the root causes of traffic violations and fostering stronger, more positive relationships between residents and the legal system. She adds, by prioritizing education over punitive fines, the program aims to keep drivers safe, legal, and employed.
A big hole that recently opened up on I-64 in Illinois is keeping repair crews busy.
Well, repairs are underway after a hole opened up on I-64 in Illinois, heading eastbound after you cross the Poplar Street Bridge, leaving Missouri. Now, you can see the pile of debris underneath the bridge right now as crews for IDOT have begun chipping away at the loose pieces of concrete after placing a plate over the top of it to get through the weekend. The hole is quite bigger now than it was when it originally opened up. Looking at it, it's about 5 feet wide and about 12 feet in length, but will continue to get a little bit bigger, as I said, as they continue to chip away at these pieces of concrete. In Illinois, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX asked IDOT engineer Joe Monroe if motorists should be concerned about this stretch of interstate after repairs are complete.
I shouldn't be worried about it, but it is reaching the end of its useful life. We do have a significant project planned for the area to address and upgrade the roadway in that area.
He says it's too soon to say with certainty, but the weather has them hopeful repairs will be completed within a matter of days, not weeks.
As spring and summer approaches, Missouri drivers are heading into one of the busiest construction seasons the state has ever seen. Chris Brownell is an engineer with the Missouri Department of Transportation and tells Missouri Net construction workers and MoDOT workers are just feet away from traffic.
One thing is the speed differential. That is such a big deal. Speed limit's 55, some adhere to that, but if some go 70, there's just no time to react. And a lot of times those lanes are maybe a little narrower, so the margin of error is a little tighter.
Brownell says over 1,000 work zones will be happening in Missouri this summer construction season.
An arrest has been made in a fatal shooting at a North County Steak and Shake. That story is on the way. It is 6:27, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. White elastomeric roof coating stops leaks and revives aged flat roofs. It lowers roof temperature by reflecting heat from the sun, helping you save on energy costs. And it's easy to apply with a brush, roller, or sprayer. Shop our entire selection of roof coatings today on Menards.com. Plus, check our weekly flyer for all of the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
All Access with Ollie Marmol on the Gas House Gang.
You're constantly trying to figure out how to get meaningful information through to the player in a way where they can put it into action. If they can shoot holes in your game or in your information or your delivery, you're done. If you come into those and you're 80% prepared and they can shoot holes in your messaging or in your points that you're trying to make, you lose credibility real quick, and you're not gaining that back anytime soon.
Ollie Marmol, Tuesdays at noon on KMOX.
It is now 6:30. We have mostly clear skies in downtown St. Louis. A few clouds moving in. It's 52 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Tom, we're still seeing slowdowns eastbound on Highway 64 approaching this accident scene just past Oakland. The right lane is blocked, as is the right shoulder. So the two left lanes are getting by there eastbound on Highway 64. That had you backed up to about Big Bend now. That's where you start hitting the brakes. You're on the brakes now as well, northbound on Highway 55 near Bayless. Make your way north through that road construction zone. By the time you make your way to South City past Carondelet Park, it's a pretty good run into downtown St. Louis. Delay-free so far into downtown, westbound Highway 70, crossing the Mutual Veterans Bridge. Similar story westbound on Highway 55-64, crossing the Poplar. Little extra volume now northbound on Highway 270, approaching Manchester Road. North of there, a pretty good run headed up towards Highway 64. I'm Frank Ladd. The next traffic update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be a pretty nice week. In fact, today, sunshine, high clouds, breezy, a high of 83. Tomorrow, sunny and 80. Partly sunny Thursday, 82. It's partly cloudy now and 52.
St. Louis County Police have charged a 20-year-old woman in connection with a recent Steak and Shake drive-through murder. Jada Bell is now facing 3 charges, including first-degree murder of 32-year-old Chauncey Meekins, and is being held on $1 million cash-only bond. The shooting occurred in early April at a Steak and Shake in the 11,000 block of Bellefontaine Road. County police say Bell had a dispute with the workers and threw a drink at Meekins through the drive-through window. Meekins is described to have thrown a drink back at Bell, who then shot Meekins several times. A second victim was shot in the hand during the dispute.
Not the way the owners of the first smoke shop and market probably expected 420 Day to end up. The business at Arsenal and Jefferson is being condemned following a Sunday night double shooting. St. Louis police seized large quantities of marijuana, chocolate bars with THC, gambling machines, and AR-15. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy says there's an alarming component to this seizure.
How some of these products are packaged and within the close proximity of parks, schools, as the major was talking about. In the wrong hands, this could be very, very dangerous, especially for young kids.
Police also see psychedelic substances frequently used in mushrooms. Police say they've only received 2 calls for service at the first smoke shop, and both were for things outside of the business. Police have not released the owner's name.
Water rates in St. Louis City are set to receive a significant hike again.
Rates will be raised 18% twice, once this year, once next year, then 6% over each of the next 3 years, with 2 smaller increases in 2031 and 2032, according to a new press release from the Water Division. These hikes come not long after the Board of Aldermen raised rates 40% in 2023. President of the Board of Aldermen, Megan Green.
We are in a position where we have to raise rates again in order to make sure that the water department is solvent.
Asked if it is time to finally install water meters across the city so residents pay for what they use instead of their home size, Green says she is told meters would be a very costly infrastructure upgrade. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute from Bloomberg is coming up next.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your legacy box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Take advantage of our Mother's Day sale, which starts now. It's our best deal of the year. Save up to 60% off. Visit legacybox.com/radio and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/radio for 60% off. legacybox.com/radio.
It's 6:35 on Total Information AM, and your money report is sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Hyundai plans to ramp up its production in the U.S. Like the rest of the global auto industry, Hyundai has been dealing with tariffs along with supply disruptions and uneven demand for electric vehicles. The company says increasing the number of cars it makes in the U.S. will avoid the extra cost of tariffs. Currently, about half of the vehicles Hyundai sells in the U.S. are built domestically. Turning to the markets, traders waiting to see if Iran will join talks that could extend a truce in the Middle East and help restore oil flows. Stocks are modestly higher as Wall Street waits to hear. S&P futures are up 12 points, Dow futures rising 90. And prediction markets are pouring money into Washington to defend against escalating criticism that their platforms are contributing to an explosion in gambling. Leading online platform Kalshi and other firms that have launched their own prediction markets are hiring teams of lobbyists as Congress eyes a crackdown on the multi-billion-dollar industry. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today,
The Cards, the Marlins.
Cameron Total Access 445. First pitch 540.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:39.
Japan is scrapping its long-running ban on lethal weapons exports, which until now had been part of its pacifist policy adopted after World War II. The BBC's Rachel Wright says it comes as Tokyo builds up its military might in the wake of threats from China and growing demand for artillery with two wars unfolding. The BBC reports governments in Europe and Asia are looking for alternative suppliers of missiles, warships, and weapons. This comes as America's weapons production is strained due to the war in Iran.
FBI Director Kash Patel is suing The Atlantic and one of its reporters for defamation over an article alleging excessive drinking and absenteeism on the job. Patel denies the claims, calling them false and fabricated, and is seeking $250 million in damages.
President Trump's nominee to chair the Federal Reserve is scheduled to testify before the Senate Banking Committee today. Topping the list of questions from Democrats for Kevin Warsh, will he be an independent voice on policy or just an extension of the Trump administration? Warsh is a former top official at the Fed and a wealthy investor. Democrats on the committee have already signaled that they'll press him about what they argue is a lack of transparency about some of his financial holdings.
It's 6:40. Let's check in with Frank Ladd. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we'll start with the good news. They got that crash out of the way eastbound on Highway 64 near the Oakland overpass. The bad news is we're still seeing delays through that stretch, essentially in pockets back to about McKnight now. Make your way eastbound on Highway 64. This update is brought to you by Financial and Tax Strategies. More volume as well northbound on Highway 55 starting at Bayless. In pockets up through that road construction zone into South City. North of there, a pretty good run headed towards downtown St. Louis. A little more volume as well northbound on Highway 270 passing Tesson Ferry. North of there, you're back on the brakes again near Big Bend up through Doherty Ferry and Manchester Road in pockets. Not quite stop and go. Completely thinned out through that road construction zone eastbound on Highway 70 out near Forestel. That's the good news. East of there, a great run through St. Charles County. Make your way past 370 all the way up to the Blanchette Bridge. Our next traffic update at 6:50. Frank Ladd at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
Let's get you updated on the weather, which actually, compared to the last couple months of roller coaster weather, this is pretty calm, Joe Lundberg.
Yeah, this is relatively stable, Debbie. We warmed up. I mean, yesterday's high was 66, but today we're going to warm up nicely with sunshine, some high clouds, no big deal. Nice warm breeze this afternoon up to 83. Then tonight, clear skies, upper 50s. Tomorrow, a mostly sunny day will settle in right around 80. Thursday looks to be partly sunny, breezy, and warm with a high in the low 80s. It gets a little cloudier for Friday. In fact, as a front moves through the area, we'll get some showers and a thunderstorm. Does not look like this is going to produce severe weather this time around. The high 77 and behind it. Nice start to the weekend, partly sunny with temperatures likely to be in the mid-70s. Right now, it's 51 at St. Peter's, 54 in Florissant. Mostly sunny, 57 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. It's 6:42, sports in 3 minutes. A terrifying scene at one of the best-known tourist sites in North America. Mexican officials say a gunman went on top of an ancient pyramid and opened fire, killing one tourist. 13 people were injured, including Americans. The pyramid is one of Mexico's most important historic sites. CBS News correspondent Jerika Duncan with more.
Terrifying video shows the alleged gunman firing several shots on the Pyramid of the Moon Monday, a popular tourist spot north of Mexico City. Visitors race down the steps in fear. The suspect holding a handgun while several people lie face down on the ground. You can also see the gunman pacing back and forth before he raises his gun and fires several shots.
The shooter, identified as 27-year-old Mexican man Julio Cesar Yasso, later died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
It's been a rough launch for the federal government's refund portal designed to help companies get reimbursed for costs they paid for Trump's tariffs. CBS's Jesse Mitchell says it's been a fast track to snags and frustration.
Multiple company executives tell CBS News they've encountered errors while trying to file a claim. Among them, the CEO of education toy maker Learning Resources, the company that filed the lawsuit that got the tariff struck down by the Supreme Court. The agency that runs the web portal, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, says it is looking into reports of problems.
Frank Sinatra's daughter is taking issue with a Truth Social post.
And now
The end is near.
Nancy Sinatra, who's been clear she is not a fan of the president's, calls Mr. Trump's weekend post featuring her father's performance sacrilege. In her own X post, the 85-year-old boots-are-made-for-walking singer says if there was something she could do about it, she would. Instead, she's calling on the song's publishers to step up. It's unclear why President Trump posted the song in the first place. There was no caption or context. It came amid ongoing negotiations with Iran to end the war. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
6:45. Let's start with Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, and Making Memories. The Cardinals' offense has cooled off, and some old habits are back. Here's KMOX's Matt Pauley.
After averaging about 7 runs per game during the 5-game winning streak, the Cardinals have a quiet night offensively, scoring just 3 runs in a 5-3 loss to the Marlins. The team goes 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position and strike out 13 times. 8 of those strikeouts are induced by Marlins starter Max Meyer, who Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol gives credit to.
Their starter did a really nice job. We had a tough time picking up the sweeper. Swung and missed quite a bit. So credit to him. But at the end of the day, we just couldn't put enough quality at bats together to get some going there. Took a shot at the end, but came up short.
The Cardinals strike out 10 or more times for a season-high 3rd straight game, their longest streak of double-digit strikeouts since the final 4 games of the 2025 regular season. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Matt, we'll see if they can cut down on those and get back to their contact-hitting ways, keeping the line moving. That's what helped the Cardinals get to 5 games over 500. They're currently 4 over 500 with a record of 13-9. They're deadlocked in a 3-way tie for second in the NL Central. The NL Central is rolling right now. The Reds lead the way. They've won 4 in a row. They're 15-8, but the 3 teams tied for second are all 13-9, and the last place team in the division's 12-9. The Pirates, Cubs, and Cardinals all 13-9. Cubs have won 6 in a row. The Brewers bringing up the rear in the division with a 12-9 record. No other division is even close to the NL Central, having all 5 teams at least 3 games over 500. Brady Tkachuk and the Ottawa Senators, the St. Louisan, is up against it now. They're down 0-2 in their best-of-7 series with the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina has taken a commanding 2-0 lead after a double overtime victory last night. 3-2 was the final in that one in Raleigh. In Dallas, the Stars even things with the Wild, beating them 4-2. Edmonton, a 4-3 win over Anaheim. That's the first game of that series. And Philadelphia beat Pittsburgh 3-0, and they take a 2-0 series lead. In the NBA, Cleveland up 115-105 and a 2-0 lead on Toronto. Atlanta even things with the Knicks. 107-106 victory over New York at Madison Square Garden, and Minnesota won on the road as well. 119-114 over the Denver Nuggets. College basketball's transfer portal ends today, but that's the date that players have to put their names in the portal. It doesn't mean that you can't take a player out of the portal, but the transfer portal, which opened at midnight on April 7th, just hours after Michigan beat UConn for the national championship, has seen almost 5,000 players enter the portal. That's according to multiple reports who have counted up all those players. Meanwhile, again, you do have the opportunity to grab players. The Billikens recently grabbed a 6'9" forward, Alon McKaylee, formerly with the University of Colorado. He just finished his freshman season there, but he's almost 21 years old because he played professionally in Israel. McKaylee is from Israel. 6'9" forward, can get up and down the floor, and has some bounce, some athletic ability. Billikens are looking for another big man to round out their class, perhaps add a point guard as well. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Billikens and the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX. Who's not, again, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens and Making Memories. Love St. Louis Composting. Love the company, love the service. St. Louis Composting, 9 locations throughout the St. Louis area. We're talking about mulch, soil, and compost. We all felt that brutal Missouri drought last summer. Well, top dressing now makes your lawn significantly more drought resistant, meaning a healthier yard and a lower water bill this year. Soil with 5% or more organic matter is the gold standard, If you want to do that, just go to stlcompost.com and take a look at Field and Turf Enhancer to get that essential organic matter back into your soil. Now's a perfect time for a full landscape cleanup, adding compost to your garden beds to prep for planting season. Refresh your entire landscape with a fresh layer of mulch in your flower beds and around your trees. STLcompost.com. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Soar with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Rachmaninoff's Third, Taking Flight. Assistant conductor Samuel Hollister and pianist Gabriela Montero make their SLSO classical subscription debut in Prokofiev's thrilling Third Piano Concerto. Enjoy Gabriela Smith's sky-inspired Tumblebird Contrails, Rachmaninoff's Third Symphony, April 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
Now the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:50. This is Total Information AM. Let's check in with Frank Ladd and find out what's going on your ride in. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, you're off the pace now eastbound on Highway 70 from about 79 up through an accident. That's near Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. It was reported in the right lane there, so I'm seeing a little bit of a slowdown approaching Mid-Rivers. By the time you make your way to 370, it's a good run eastbound on Highway 70. You're on the brakes as well, northbound on Highway 55. Making your way north of Bayless up through the road construction zone. You open back up near about Loughborough, headed north into downtown St. Louis. An extra pocket of volume approaching Monsanto now, northbound on Route 3, headed towards the Poplar Street Bridge. A little more volume westbound on 5564 crossing the Poplar as well. And we're seeing a little more volume northbound on Highway 270, but not quite stop and go now between 55 and Highway 44. This update sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today, now offering 20% off your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Our next traffic update at 6:58. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Another beautiful day today. AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says high clouds at times, but no big deal. Sunshine, breezy, warmer this afternoon. High 83, mainly clear, low 58 tonight. And tomorrow, another sunny day, pleasantly warm with a high of 80. Currently, we have a sunny sky in downtown St. Louis. It's 52 degrees.
The news continues at 6:52. KMOX has been examining why women, and only women, are not being able to get a Real ID Missouri driver's license if they've had a name change. Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins' office tells us if you apply for a Real ID, all that's required is your birth certificate.
But as it turns out for Michelle, who had a divorce decree from 42 years ago, but no marriage license because it was a common law marriage in Georgia, then remarried in Missouri, remained married until his second husband passed away. The Missouri DMV told her for weeks she did not have the proper paperwork. KMOX contacted Hoskins' office to intervene on Michelle's behalf.
I got it this last week. I got it like 6 days ago, I think. But I've gone to the same guy, was at the desk every time I showed up. And it was kind of funny because the day I went in and after they called there and told them, when I got called up, a woman took me.
If you have had problems with a name change, getting your Real ID Missouri driver's license, contact Denny Hoskins' office, the Missouri Secretary of State in Jefferson City.
A $200 million mixed-use development is coming to downtown West. AHM and Broadmoor Group are teaming up to build Rollick on Locust in the shadow of Energizer Park. It'll have 74 apartments and more than 3,200 square feet of ground floor retail and commercial space.
Phase 2 of the project is to build Rhythm in the 2100 block of Washington Avenue. That would be 113 residential units. Rollick and Rhythm will have a wide range of rents, according to AHM principal Kyle Howerton. AHM has already invested about $100 million in the area around the stadium, which is now referred to as City Commons. They have plans to restore 2 historic buildings and build the city's first 29-story mass timber residential tower on Locust.
Dick's House of Sport is under construction at the Galleria, expected to open next year. Fencing is up around the former Nordstrom, which closed last summer. According to the Business Journal, it generally costs about $11.5 million to build out one of these locations, which generate nearly double the sales of a traditional store. Dick's House of Sport locations have the usual sporting goods combined with features like rock climbing walls, turf fields, tracks, golf, simulator bays, ice rinks, and batting cages.
All right, that sounds like fun. 6:54.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your
Today's birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. If you have a birthday or anniversary you would like included in this segment, email it to us at totalam@KMOX.com. totalam@KMOX.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Dorothy Showalter in O'Fallon, Illinois, and to John Russell.
This is the best birthday ever.
Tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's the latest tool available at supplement superstores to get you moving down the path you want to when it comes to being in great shape. This is not a fat burner. It is a complete metabolism system. It's Burn Balance Edge for the guys, Burn Balance Zen for the ladies. So make sure you ask for the right one when you go in. But what this does is makes your body work the right way. So what I've noticed in a short amount of time so far, metabolism is great. I mean, you're starting to feel, in fact, I can feel it. Shirts are fitting a little looser. The belt pulls a little tighter. And on top of that metabolism boost, you're also getting some reductions in stress and cortisol levels. You're getting appetite control, craving control throughout the day, all-day focused energy with no jitters and crash. And look, it isn't magic. You need to do the work. But I'll tell you this, it's a good assistant. It helps a lot to make the right decisions. So if you want long-lasting results, go to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world. Protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Presented by Worldwide Technology, the BizDash 5K is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, a high-energy corporate race in St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Thursday, May 7th at Energizer Park. Register your team at stlbizdash.com.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin, WashU Medicine medical oncologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Jin, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
What are some of the signs and symptoms of esophageal cancer? When should someone talk to their physician?
The first signs that I typically hear about from my patients, difficulty swallowing. They'll initially start with solids and then progressively get worse. So those are the most alarming signs. And then associated with that, pain upon swallowing. There might be a cough, weight loss. So I think the first step, if you have any alarming symptoms, is talk with your primary care and really, ask them if you're appropriate to be screened.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
It is now 6:58, and it's time for us to check in with Frank Ladd, who is joining us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we're on the brakes down northbound on Highway 55. Those delays started about Bayless and head through that road construction zone. By the time you make your way to Loughborough, a pretty good run through South City headed towards downtown St. Louis. A little pocket of volume as well has dissipated northbound on Route 3 at Monsanto. So that's the good news approaching the Poplar Street Bridge. Westbound 5564 crossing the Poplar. We are delay-free so far this morning. They're still reportedly working on that bridge deck on the eastbound lane. So could see some problems later this afternoon as folks are headed back to the Illinois side of the river. We had lots of delays yesterday afternoon headed through downtown St. Louis on 64, all due to that emergency bridge deck repair on the eastbound side of the Poplar Street Bridge on the Illinois side. Westbound 70 crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge. So far, so good this morning. Northbound on Highway 270, not seeing any delays now between 55 and 44. North of there, you've got pockets of volume that started about Big Bend up through about Manchester Road. And we do have that pocket of volume eastbound on Highway 70 out in St. Charles County at Mid Rivers, reportedly a crash in that right lane. So it's definitely heavier through that stretch up to about 370. Our next traffic update at 7:10. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We have 52 degrees and a sunny sky in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news.
Southside business now condemned after selling marijuana without a license. I'm Maria Aquina with the other illegal items seized.
I'm Debbie Monterey.
I'm Maria Aquina, delving into why women with a different last name are running into problems getting a real ID driver's license in Missouri.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine through some high clouds at times today. Breezy and warmer this afternoon with a high of 83.
Still an odd swing. There's a ground ball up the middle. That's a base hit.
Another hit for Jordan Walker, but the Cardinals couldn't string together enough of them, and they fall last night.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by DEA Take Back Day.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A day to go until a 2-week ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran expires, and there are doubts about whether Tehran will show up for another round of negotiations in Pakistan. Correspondent Nancy Cordes is at the White House.
Everything feels a little up in the air this morning with both sides talking tough right now with this ceasefire about to end. President Trump is saying if there's no deal, quote, lots of bombs start going off. And the Iranians are saying they want the U.S. to release a ship it seized over the weekend, with a senior commander saying just this morning that there will be an immediate and decisive response to any aggression from the U.S.
The Pentagon's just announced U.S. forces boarded an oil tanker overnight that was previously sanctioned for allegedly smuggling crude oil in Asia. New details after a shooting at an ancient pyramid outside Mexico City. Officials there have identified the suspect as a Mexican man, Julio Cesar Jasso, after a Canadian tourist was shot and killed. They say the gunman died by suicide. American Greg Magadini was there.
By the second shot, it became clear that it was an active shooter situation when everyone started screaming and running and ducking.
13 people were injured, Americans among them. Bystanders leapt into action to save a pilot after his single-engine Cessna crashed into the parking lot of an auto parts store in Los Angeles.
Oh, my God. Get him out, guys. Get him out.
Correspondent Carter Evans is in L.A.
Video of the response shows a group of men lifting up the small plane and pulling the pilot out. The 70-year-old was hospitalized and is in critical condition. Meanwhile, the cause of the crash is under investigation.
The satirical news outlet The Onion's trying to take over InfoWars again.
The InfoWars media company faces liquidation after families of the victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Connecticut successfully sued the company's founder, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, for claiming the massacre never happened.
The whole thing is a giant hoax.
A bankruptcy judge rejected The Onion's first attempt to take over InfoWars. Now The Onion has proposed licensing the website from its court-appointed manager so it can publish its own content on the site. If the judge approves that, Jones plans to appeal. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The oldest member of the Osmond brothers is gone. Alan Osmond has died 40 years after he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which forced him to retire from performing with the group. Alan Osmond was 76. This is CBS News.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
It is 7:04. We've got tons of sunshine, a few clouds, 53 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We're going to warm up to 83 degrees today. Police say a 19-year-old is dead and 3 others are injured following a shooting in Centralia over the weekend. While detailed information has still not yet been released, police are now calling the shooting a targeted attack. According to a Centralia local outlet, WJBD, the shooting took place around 5 p.m. Sunday on East Kell Street. The outlet also reports the hospital victims were brought on lockdown yesterday. Centralia police are reported to have asked Illinois State Police to take over the investigation.
St. Louis County Police say they have charged a 20-year-old woman in connection with the fatal Steak and Shake shooting. Jada Bell now facing 3 charges, including first-degree murder of 32-year-old Chauncey Meekins. She's being held on $1 million cash-only bond. That shooting occurred earlier this month at the Steak and Shake on Bell Fountain Road.
County police say Bell had a dispute with the workers and threw a drink at Meekins through the drive-through window. Meekins is described to have thrown a drink back at Bell, who then shot Meekins several times. A second victim was shot in the hand during the dispute. Meekins' visitation is set to take place at 9 o'clock this morning, with the funeral to follow.
St. Louis police releasing more information about Sunday night's double shooting at the Fur Smoke Shop and Market at Jefferson and Arsenal in South City. It left one person critically injured.
3rd District Captain Angela Dickerson says the shooting started inside the fur shop and spilled onto the street.
Our detectives are still working through what led up to this shooting and who all were involved. We know there were numerous people inside the shop, and they left before we were able to speak with them.
Dickerson says during the investigation, police discovered a large quantity of marijuana, psychedelic components, chocolate bars with THC, and gambling machines. The fur shop and market is not licensed to sell any marijuana products. Major Michael Mueller.
Also located was an AR-15 with a high-capacity magazine. The owner of the business was not located at this time. This is an ongoing investigation.
The fur shop is already boarded up. Mueller says the business will be condemned because of the illegal drug sales and active investigation. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The St. Louis Civilian Oversight Board seemingly has no authority to investigate police misconduct anymore, but it met last night anyway, researching workarounds and monitoring the state board that replaced it. The governor-appointed police board's attorney has said there's no legal basis for the COB to review officer cases.
The CRB is not something that can just be transposed. The body has to legislate it.
Commissioner Barbara Millen is looking at a program used in Chicago and Baltimore that would let residents document police encounters on video, but there are reservations.
Members of our investigative team, especially our investigators who were former police officers, have indicated caution with the public oversight.
And this is board member Sierra Simrel, who's been monitoring the police board's meetings online, trying to track how the state board is building its complaint and discipline process.
I will be able to give further information later, I guess, as I learn more about how they're structuring and doing their processes and what that's going to look like in reference to civilian oversight, because obviously we need it.
From the KMOX Business Desk, a $200 million mixed-use development is coming to downtown West. AHM and Broadmoor Group are teaming up to build Rollick on Locust in the shadow of Energizer Park. It'll have 74 apartments and more than 3,200 square feet of ground floor retail and commercial space.
Phase 2 of the project is to build Rhythm in the 2100 block of Washington Avenue, 113 residential units. Rollick and Rhythm will have a wide range of rents, according to AHM principal Kyle Howerton. AHM's already invested about $100 million in the area around the soccer stadium, which is now referred to as City Commons. They have plans to restore 2 historic buildings and build the city's first 29-story mass timber residential tower on Locust.
It is now 7:08. We're going to check traffic and weather, and city residents get ready for another utility hike. Details on the way.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Don't miss the Route 66 Centennial Festival at the Missouri History Museum, April 30th through May 3rd. Bring back memories of the Mother Road's stunning natural scenery and roadside attractions, and explore its complex history and impacts on communities across the region. Featuring a concert by Sweetie and the Toothaches, a classic car show, neon display, food trucks, lectures, kids crafts, and more. All activities are free. Schedule at mohistory.org/festival.
Spring is here. Hi, this is Tim Gamma.
And I'm Tom Gamma.
When it comes to tree care, call the name you can trust. Gamma Tree Experts, founded by our dad, Frank Gamma, in 1954.
Frank will be 91 this year, and the third generation of Gammas have joined the business.
Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Now in our 72nd year.
For pruning, fertilization, and removal, call Gamma Tree Experts today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check in with Frank Ladd. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we're still seeing that volume coming around the bend eastbound on Highway 70 near Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. Still reports of an accident there, and never seen it on the camera, but it's definitely stopped and go through that stretch right at Mid-Rivers Mall Drive from about Highway 79. And then east of there, you've got pockets of volume making your way towards Highway 370. Not bad east of 370 headed towards the Blanchette Bridge. Eastbound 64 is a good alternative so far this morning. Not seeing any delays now between Lake St. Louis, Highway 94 all the way through to the Boone Bridge. Northbound on Highway 270, you've got your pockets of volume just off the pace volume now near Tesson Ferry and Gravois. Back on the brakes again near Doherty Ferry up through about Manchester Road in pockets. Southbound 170 starting to fill in that left lane approaching Highway 64. And you've got your normal volume delays into the work zone northbound on Highway 55 starting at about Bayless, extending up to about Loughborough into the city, a great run. And we still do have that emergency bridge deck repair eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge on the Illinois side of the Poplar Street Bridge there. So that right lane remains blocked. That was a doozy yesterday afternoon during afternoon rush hour as we had delays on all the highways into Illinois. I'm Frank Ladd with traffic from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather. Sunshine today through some high clouds at times. Breezy, warmer this afternoon. The high temperature 83. Mainly clear tonight, low 58. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine. Pleasantly warm. The high about 80. Thursday, partly sunny. Breezy and warm. High 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is now 7:12, and we've got partly cloudy skies, 52 degrees downtown.
We have sports coming up in just 2 minutes. About 3 years after a large rate hike, water bills in St. Louis City are set to rise significantly again.
A proposal from the Water Division says there will be two 18% hikes over the next 2 years, followed by a 3% hike each year between 2028 and 2030, with two smaller increases in 2031 and 2032. I asked Aldermanic President Megan Green if it's time for the city to install meters on resident homes so they pay for what they use instead of the size of their home.
That was something that I actually asked our water director, and the answer is actually no. It would be a lot more in infrastructure costs if we were to move to that kind of system.
Green says even with this proposed rate hike, St. Louis City residents will still pay, quote, considerably less than their neighbors in the county. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The St. Louis Voices Academy of Media Arts Charter is being revoked. The Missouri Charter Public School Commission sent a letter to the school's board of directors citing the school's financial health, instructional and safety concerns, and noncompliance. That downtown school is located inside the Park Pacific building.
Certification is effective June 30th. The letter also states the school's inability to demonstrate the capacity necessary to achieve ongoing viability. The commission is making this recommendation despite requested interventions by the commission and opportunities afforded to St. Louis Voices Academy to meet its statutory and contractual obligations. Back in November, the school was placed on probation for significant concerns about providing students with a safe and appropriate learning environment and a lack of certified teachers and staff. The commission says since that time, the St. Louis Voices Academy has failed to take remedial steps to have the probationary status removed. St. Louis Voices Academy has a student enrollment of 137 students. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Fired St. Louis Public School Superintendent Keisha Scarlett is suing the district. KMOX's Michael Calhoun with that.
Her lawsuit tells a very different story than the one the school board presented when it let her go. Scarlett claims that she was actually a whistleblower and flagged about 2,000 unpaid vendor invoices and millions in money owed by the district, and that she was put on leave right after she raised those concerns. She's also accusing the district of locking her out of her email and blocking her access to documents that she says she needed to prepare her defense before her termination hearing.
Here's a question for you. Who is the co-leader in Major League Baseball with the longest hitting streak? Do you know the answer to that? It's one of your own. It is the Cardinals' Jordan Walker.
An odd swing. There's a ground ball up the middle. That's a base hit, and he did indeed make an adjustment. That's the Cardinals' first hit. And they've got a base runner with one out, and that is now 15 straight games for Jordan Walker.
Jordan Walker, a 15-game hit streak. He is tied with Ildemaro Vargas with that lead, 15 apiece. Vargas plays for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Walker is a Cardinal. You know who else is on that list? 7-game hit streak for this guy.
Wynn hits it hard and fair down the left field line, going to the corner. And Mason is on with a leadoff double in the 9th inning. And he's going to go for third base. Slow to pick up the ball. Stowers, the throw gets away at third, and Wynn is on third with nobody out.
He's on fire right now. Mason Wynn hitting .370 during this 7-game hit streak. But the Cardinals didn't have much offense beyond that, and they dropped one yesterday by a final of 5-3. The Cardinals losing to the Marlins down in Miami. They'll get back after them today as the Cards take on the Marlins at 5:40. We'll have that one for you with a 4:45 pregame. The Cardinals, with a record of 13-9, are a game and a half out of first in the National League Central. Michael McGreevy gave up 4 runs yesterday in his start. Today's starter will be Dustin May. He will go after the Marlins this evening. Throwing out the first pitch will be Indiana quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner, Miami native Fernando Mendoza, who's expected to be the first pick in the NFL draft on Thursday. Cuts of the game, by the way, were sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. Elsewhere in sports, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's a lead for the Carolina Hurricanes, and they did it again, this time in double overtime, as they are able to knock off what I think is a pretty good Ottawa team, but so far, they're down 0-2 in the series. 3-2, the Canes beat them in double OT. Other winners yesterday, Dallas, Edmonton, and Philadelphia. In the NBA, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Minnesota all victorious. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:20 right now, and time to get you updated on your ride in and the weather. We have a beautiful week in store for the most part. Hopefully your commute is the same this morning. Frank Ladd has details from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, I haven't heard a call or I can't see anything on a camera that would justify this, but I am seeing extra volume now northbound on Highway 55 between Highway 44, the merge with Highway 44 and the Poplar Street Bridge. Could be that ramp issue, ramping onto the eastbound Poplar Street Bridge, all due to the construction on the Illinois side of the bridge there. So use some caution as you're coming off eastbound Highway 44, getting onto northbound Highway 55 this morning. You do have delays into the work zone. That ongoing project northbound on Highway 55, those delays start near Bayless, make your way across the river to Pear, extend up to about Loughborough, almost to Bates. North of there, a good run towards downtown St. Louis. Headed northbound on 270 this morning. You've got pockets of volume now between 55 and looks like Gravel. You're back on the brakes again between Big Bend, Doherty Ferry, headed up towards Clayton Road, Manchester Road and Clayton Road. Southbound on 170, still seeing delays approaching Highway 64, mainly that left lane. And out in St. Charles County, we had an earlier crash eastbound Highway 70 at Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. Still seeing some pockets of volume extending back to about Bryan Road up to about Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. By the time you make your way to 370, it's a pretty good run making your way towards the Blanchette Bridge. Our next traffic update at 7:30. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg has dialed up quite the forecast this week. We had a beautiful day yesterday. It gets warmer today with a high of 83, says Joe. Sunshine through some high clouds at times, he says. Mainly clear, low 58 tonight. And tomorrow, plenty of sunshine and pleasantly warm again with a high of 80. Currently, we have bright sun in downtown St. Louis. It's 54 degrees.
The news continues at 7:22.
Director Patel tried to save face by firing even more people at the FBI who worked on President Trump's mishandling of classified documents.
That is Illinois Senator Dick Durbin taking to the Senate floor with a call to replace FBI Director Kash Patel.
Just days before the war began, Director Patel deliberately undermined the FBI's ability to counter Iranian threats, all to distract from his own failings as management as director.
Durbin cites an article recently published this week in The Atlantic.
Reveal that Director Patel's behavior has been even more erratic and irresponsible than previously reported. Current and former FBI officials are worried that Director Patel has become a national security risk due to his chronic absenteeism and personal lifestyle.
Kash Patel, meanwhile, filed a $250 million defamation suit against The Atlantic. The magazine says it will vigorously defend itself and its journalist in court.
Some U.S. companies are owed money back from tariffs, but don't expect it to make much of a difference.
It's mostly going to be large businesses that have records of what they paid for which tariffs with which importers from which countries. Small, medium-sized businesses probably don't have those records.
WashU economist John Horn says the refunds are going to importers, the businesses that actually paid the tariffs up front when bringing goods into the country. By the time those goods reached other businesses or store shelves, the tariff costs were already baked in. Horn says most businesses will likely hold on to whatever they get back, given the uncertainty around the war in Iran, so shoppers shouldn't expect to see prices drop.
KMOX has exclusive reporting this morning on obtaining a real ID driver's license in Missouri and the hoops one woman had to go through because of a name change.
We are only using the woman's first name, Michelle, who contacted KMOX after several failed attempts to get a real ID.
I have been trying to get my real ID for a year. My driver's license was expiring last year on my birthday, which is a week from now in April. I went there with what I thought I needed: birth certificate, marriage license from my last husband, divorce papers from my first husband, and they rejected me. They kept rejecting me, saying I had to have an actual marriage license.
A marriage license from Georgia, where she had a common law marriage. Georgia would not issue a marriage certificate for that, but Michelle did have a divorce decree and her second marriage license, as well as a death certificate of her late second husband. KMOX contacted Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins' office and was advised a birth certificate should be all that's required to obtain a real ID. But the DMV kept refusing to issue Michelle a real ID, so they stepped in to help her.
With your help, I was approached by people in Jefferson City with the DMV, and they worked with me. And even then, I got rejected twice. They had to personally call the DMV office and tell them to approve my paperwork once I had gathered everything together. And what I had to have, this is just insanity. I had a birth certificate. I had the divorce papers from the first marriage, marriage certificate from the second marriage, death certificate of my husband, my active driver's license, my social security card in my maiden name, my first married name, and the card in my second married name. I have all three Social Security cards.
Only women with more than one marriage name are encountering this problem, not men. You need a real ID to fly, but to vote, you can use a non-expired Missouri driver or non-driver license, a non-expired military ID, including a veteran's ID card, a non-expired United States passport, or another photo ID issued by the United States or the state of Missouri, which is either not expired or expired after the date of the most recent general election. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A pause on KSDK, Channel 5 becoming part of Fox 2 and KPLR. A federal judge has blocked Nexstar's $6 billion acquisition of fellow broadcaster Tegna. The preliminary injunction will be in place while the attorneys general of 8 states investigate an antitrust complaint. Nexstar says it will appeal the ruling.
The FCC waived a cap that bars companies from owning stations that reach more than 39% of households. This combined company would reach more than 80% of households. But the merger got the blessing of President Trump after Nexstar agreed to pull Jimmy Kimmel off the air. The federal judge said stopping the deal is in the public interest.
An opportunity to see some of the best watercolor paintings by area artists. The 26th annual St. Louis Watercolor Society juried exhibition opens today at Norton's Fine Art and Framing on Big Bend. Internationally acclaimed painter Matthew Bird selects and judges the paintings submitted by local artists. More than 50 works are on display. The exhibit runs through May 16th.
It is now 7:27, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You voted, we listened. On Friday, April 24th, the Cardinals take on the Seattle Mariners, and Busch Stadium is going dark. That night, you will receive the all-new Cardinals jersey, Dark Mode, presented by Phillips 66. This fan-selected look was brought to life for the ballpark and designed to stand out in the stands. A limited giveaway you can only get at the game. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Victor Scott II. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun. But every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, April 21st and Thursday, April 23rd. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I went to Staples for a custom printed graduation banner and invites and saw that Party City is now at Staples.
Wait, what?
Party City is now at Staples.
So now Staples has balloons?
Yep.
Decorations?
Yes.
Streamers, cups, table covers?
Yep, Staples has everything for a party. And now buy two, get one free on select foil balloons.
Holy confetti! So the best party started Staples.
That was easy.
In 613 select stores, exclusions apply. In-store or buy online. Pick up in-store only.
It is 7:30. We've got bright sunshine, a few clouds, 53 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We also have Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Tom, we have heavy pockets through St. Charles County, eastbound on Highway 70 now. Stop and go in some stretches now between Bryan Road and 370. An earlier accident at Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. Northbound on Highway 55, you're on the brakes north of Revis Barracks, now through the road construction, headed into South City near Loughborough. Northbound on Highway 270, ramping on from 55, a little off the pace as well. Then off the pace pockets make your way north towards Gravois, back on the brakes again north of Big Bend up through Doherty Ferry, Manchester, headed up towards Highway 64. You've got a pocket of volume as well, eastbound on Highway 30, approaching Highway 270. That normal stretch is usually pretty heavy. And we do have some volume on Route 3 north and southbound, approaching Monsanto now, just south of the Poplar Street Bridge. Heavier as well, westbound on Highway 64, passing Forest Park, headed out to about McCausland. Those delays start at about the Science Center. I'm Frank Ladd with traffic from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast. AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says we're going to have a beautiful day. Sunshine through some high clouds, a high of 83. Tonight, clear, low 58. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine and warm with a high of 80. We're warming up gradually here in the St. Louis area. It's sunny and 55 downtown at the Arch.
They have made an arrest. St. Louis County Police have charged a 20-year-old woman in connection with the Steak and Shake drive-through murder from earlier this month. Jada Bell now facing 3 charges, including first-degree murder of 32-year-old Chauncey Meekins. Bell's being held on $1 million cash bond. This is for the shooting that happened at the North County Steak and Shake on Bell Fountain Road. County police say Bell had a dispute with the workers, threw a drink at Meekins through the drive-through window, and Meekins threw the drink back at Bell. Bell then shot Meekins several times. A second victim shot in the hand during that dispute.
A food truck owner is dead following a shooting at a food truck Sunday in Ferguson. 41-year-old Ronald Milton was killed and 2 women were shot but survived after police say someone in a vehicle opened a fire into a crowd near the food truck. The shooting took place around 6:30 p.m. Sunday evening. Milton's food truck, the Backyard Barbecue, was parked in a lot off Newhalls Ferry Road, according to our partners at Fox 2. Because police do not have a suspect in custody at this time, Ferguson business owners are offering a $10,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest.
It's not exactly how the owner of the Fur Smoke Shop and Market expected 420 Day to end up. The business is now being condemned following a Sunday evening double shooting. St. Louis police seized large quantities of marijuana, chocolate bars with THC, gambling machines, and an AR-15. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy says there's an alarming component to the seizure.
How some of these products are packaged and within the close proximity of parks, schools, as the major was talking about. In the wrong hands, this could be very, very dangerous, especially for young kids.
Police also seized psychedelic substances frequently used in mushrooms. Police say they've only received 2 calls for service at First Smoke Shop. Both were for outside of the business.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your Money Minute next.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
It is 7:35. This is Total Information AM. We're 5 minutes away from another check of the roadways and the weather. But right now, let's get you your Bloomberg Money Minute, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A changing of the guard at Apple. Tim Cook is handing over the top job to the head of its hardware business, John Ternus. The outgoing CEO has built up an unprecedented record of success over his tenure. Apple has gained over $3.6 trillion in market value under Cook. Though Apple's growth remains strong, the company has struggled to catch up in artificial intelligence. Stocks are edging higher this morning. Traders are waiting on an update if peace talks will happen between the U.S. and Iran. Meantime, Wall Street will be watching D.C., where President Trump's pick to head the Federal Reserve, Kevin Warsh, appears before the Senate Banking Committee for his confirmation hearing. And the creator of Hello Kitty is launching a new gaming brand as it looks to monetize its portfolio of popular characters. Sanrio Games will release around 10 titles over the next 3 years, including a party game for Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. The first title set for release this fall. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
Store is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey St. Louis, Bob Stray here with Straight Windows. Let me guess, you've gotten some quotes on some new windows, and you had to look at it twice. I hear that a lot. That's why I started Straight Windows. I'm not here to give you a sales pitch. What I'm here to give you is a straightforward answer on what you need, what you don't need, and what it should cost. You're going to get quality windows, lifetime warranty, and no pressure. If you want a quote that you could feel good about, give me a call at 314-WINDOWS. That's 314-WINDOWS.
Beat the spring cleaning rush at Zero Res. This week, buy one room of carpet, get one cleaned for free. Unlimited rooms and whole system air duct cleaning for just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It is now 7:39, and we will check the traffic and weather for you in just one moment. But first, Japan scrapping its long-running ban on lethal weapons exports, which until now had been part of its pacifist policy adopted after World War II. The BBC's Rachel Wright says it comes as Tokyo builds up its military might in the wake of threats from China and the growing demand for artillery, with two wars unfolding. The BBC reports governments in Europe and Asia are looking for alternative suppliers of missiles, warships, and weapons. This comes as America's weapons production is strained due to the war in Iran.
Let's get a look at traffic. It's Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Crash now westbound on Highway 44 at Kings Highway, partially blocking that ramp there. MoDOT reporting a crash eastbound on Highway 44 at Hampton. They don't have a camera on that one, so I can't confirm it for you at this time. North and southbound Route 3, we've got delays approaching Monsanto, a train crossing there, so that's what's causing those delays. An accident reported now westbound on Highway 64 near the Tam Avenue overpass. That has you backed up to looks like about the Science Center Kings Highway on westbound Highway 64 passing Forest Park. Northbound on Highway 55, you got your normal delays coming up through the Bayless and Rivas area, headed up towards Loughborough. Busy pockets northbound on Highway 270 this morning between 5544 and Highway 64. Eastbound on Highway 70, you've got your heavier pockets now. Some may even be stop and go starting at about Bryan Road, make your way up to 370. A good alternate, the USPS Ground Advantage reliable route. Eastbound on Highway 64, a pretty good run now, starting at Lake St. Louis, and 364 as well, coming around through Cottleville, not seeing too many delays. Make your way up towards Highway 94. Our next traffic update at 7:50. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
It's going on 7:42, and looking out the windows here of Studio B in downtown West, I see blue skies, sunshine. I see the leaves blowing in the breeze. Joe Lundberg is joining us, and it's going to be a really nice day.
You're describing a day that makes me want to get out and play some golf right now. It is going to be a beautiful day, Debbie, with that sunshine, that nice breeze, some wispy high clouds as well. All in all, much nicer than yesterday, and yesterday was pretty good at 66, but we'll get to 83 today. And tonight, clear skies, a little 58. For tomorrow, mostly sunny. I think another warm day with a high of 80, and we'll make it a trifecta Thursday. Partly sunny, warm and breezy, the high 82. Friday, a lot cloudier, and there'll be a couple of showers and maybe a thunderstorm, high 77, but back to some sunshine to start the weekend. Saturday's high about 76. It's up to 57 at St. Peter's, 58 in Florissant. With that sunshine, it's 59 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joe, thank you. We'll do sports in just 2 minutes at 7:43 as questions swirl around whether a new round of Iran war peace talks will take place. Robert Pape of the University of Chicago weighs in.
You need to get one side to accept almost complete surrender, almost the other's goals. That takes a long period of time, and there's so much fight that each side has now that this could really go on for months.
A major milestone for Americans who paid some of President Trump's tariffs over the past year after the Supreme Court declared those unconstitutional. Businesses can now claim refunds. BS News senior business and tech correspondent, or that should be CBS's Jolene Kent, has details.
Claire V, along with multiple other businesses, tell CBS News they're unable to log into the new tariff refund portal run by Customs and Border Patrol and facing multiple error messages. When we asked about the problems, a CBP spokesperson said the application process is designed to efficiently process refunds.
It's been a rough launch for the federal government's refund portal designed to help companies get reimbursed for costs they paid for tariffs. CBS's Jesse Mitchell says it's been a fast track to snags and frustration.
Multiple company executives tell CBS News they've encountered errors while trying to file a claim. Among them, the CEO of education toy maker Learning Resources, the company that filed the lawsuit that got the tariff struck down by the Supreme Court. The agency that runs the web portal, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, says it is looking into reports of problems.
Another jury finding Uber liable for sexual assault by one of its drivers.
A North Carolina jury awarded a woman $5,000 after she accused her Uber driver of grabbing her inner thigh during a late-night ride in 2019. It's the second straight defeat for Uber as it faces more than 3,000 sexual assault lawsuits that have been consolidated in federal court. In February, a Phoenix jury ordered Uber to pay $8.5 million to a woman who said her driver raped her. Uber has argued it's a software company and is not liable for the actions of its drivers, who are independent contractors. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
All right, let's get everybody involved here, starting with our broadcasters in the booth as the Cardinals took on the Marlins yesterday in Miami.
This is John Rooney, and last night at Lone Depot Park in Miami, the Cardinals scored first, but for the first time this season when they did that, they lost the ball game as the Marlins won game one of the three-game series 5-3. Each team scored in the fourth. Then it was a Ramirez home run in the bottom of the fifth, only to have the Cardinals tie the game on a wild pitch in the sixth. But the Marlins got two in the bottom of the sixth, added on a run in the eighth. The Cardinals, a Mason Wynn triple, a sacrifice fly for a run scored in the ninth. Miami won 5-3. Calvin Fauché picked up the win in relief over Michael McGreevy 1-2. Pete Fairbanks, who gave up the triple and the run, with Mason Wynn getting the hit in the ninth, picked up his fourth save. In the loss, Jordan Walker improved his hitting streak to 15 games with a single in the fourth inning. He scored 2 runs. Tonight, the Cardinals try to get back in the win column behind Dustin May, and we're on the air at 4:45.
Downstairs to Chip Carey, Cardinals TV with Ollie Marmol.
Well, Ollie, tonight you manufactured some runs, but just not enough of them.
No, not enough. I felt like their starter did a really nice job. We had a tough time picking up the sweeper. Swung and missed it quite a bit. So credit to him. But at the end of the day, yeah, we just couldn't put enough quality at bats together to get some going there. Took a shot at the end, but came up short.
Jordan, he's been slugging home runs with the best of them. He manufactured a couple of runs and created some offense in a different way today. That's always a great sign of growth and good to see.
No doubt. And he came in and he said he had a tough time seeing the sweeper in that first at bat. So you have to make an adjustment, get a little shorter, let it get deeper. But it's good to kind of hear him talk through some of these situations and continue to improve at them. Because at the end of the day, I mean, it's early on. So the better we get at that, the better we'll be.
Your thoughts on Michael today?
Yeah, Greavy did a nice job, especially you got 6 lefties in there. I thought he navigated them well. First time through, got ahead of a lot of guys, kept them on the ground. Third time through, fell behind several of them, ended up costing them. But the 2 walks ended up scoring. A couple ground balls get through. The homer was hit well. But at the end of the day, I thought he gave us a good look.
And another positive defense. Fermin's catch in center was great, and Mason Wynn's throw to the plate.
Yeah, the relay there was great at the plate. Walker getting out at third as well. You got Fermin making a nice play in center. I thought overall the guys continue to not let the other team take advantage of situations like that. So we've done a nice job there.
Tough way to end a streak, but let's start a new one tomorrow.
Chip Carey with Ollie Marmol down in the Cardinals clubhouse. Again, Cardinals and Marlins today at 5:40. Quick look at the NHL. It's been a competitive series between Dallas and Minnesota. They're even at a game apiece. The Stars win it 4-2 last night. Carolina's up 2-0 on Ottawa after beating them in double overtime last night, 3-2. Philadelphia shut out Pittsburgh 3-0 to take a 2-0 series lead. Edmonton up 1-0 on Anaheim after a 4-3 win. In the NBA, Atlanta beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, 107-106 to even that series at a game apiece. Cleveland goes up 2-0 on Toronto, 115-105, and Minnesota even things up with Denver, 119-114 win in Denver. Ins and Out sponsored by Innsbrook Resort, where every day is the weekend. What a great spot. Just thinking about Joe Lundberg earlier when he was talking about getting outside and playing golf made me think of Innsbrook. Innsbrook's 18-hole golf course is championship level. Kevin Korn, the pro there, does a phenomenal job. I've had some people take me up on this. Go over to Innsbrook or call the pro shop, ask for Kevin, tell him that I sent you over. He'll get you all set up with a tee time and introduce you to a fantastic golf course, pro shop, restaurant, bar, everything you could possibly want right there at Innsbrook. You do not have to be a resident to play Innsbrook. That is a public golf course. So set up the tee time. They'll get you a pass to get through security and on your way to the great golf course that is Innsbrook. Now, while you're playing, you're going to look around. You're going to see all those homes and lakes, and your mind's going to start to wander a little bit. What could this be like if I were vacationing in Innsbrook, fishing and hiking with the family? Innsbrook-resort.com. Now on to our parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. I'm going to go for it again. The Celtics tonight against the 76ers. But this time, I'm going to say that the Sixers are going to score more points than the 91 they had. I missed it by a half point when I gave you that recommendation. So this time, I think the Sixers are going to light it up a little bit more. They're going to lose to the Celtics. And so I'm going to take the Sixers plus 14, and I'm going to go over 216. That is my parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:51. Let's get you caught up on your ride in with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've got a better look at now. It's a crash eastbound on Highway 44 at Kings Highway. It's on the exit ramp to Kings Highway, partially blocking that ramp there. So you're stop and go back to about Hampton now, eastbound on Highway 44. Into downtown St. Louis, we've got delays northbound on Route 3. Those start at Jerome. Your stop and go up through, looks like a train crossing at Monsanto because we're seeing some southbound delays as well. And then you're heavy northbound on Route 3, ramping onto the Poplar Street Bridge. Poplar Street Bridge has delays starting at about the Each Bridge split now, westbound 5564 crossing the Poplar. Your normal pockets of volume northbound on Highway 55 now approaching the work zone. Those start north of Rebus Barracks. You've got your normal volume headed northbound on Highway 270 between 55 and Highway 44. You got some stop and go pockets now at Big Bend, then Doherty Ferry up through Manchester Road. Southbound 170 starting to fill in a little bit. That left lane again is the heavy pocket approaching Highway 64. And we're easing out in St. Charles County, just off the pay stretch now, TR Hughes up to about Highway 79 in pockets there. We also had reports of a crash westbound Highway 30 at Little Brennan. Our next traffic update at 7:58. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says a beautiful day today, high of 83, low 58 tonight, high of 80 with more sun tomorrow. It's 56 right now.
Word that a data center developer was looking at some farmland in Granite City spurred many meetings about the pros and cons along with citizen complaints. Granite City Mayor Mike Parkinson says there is not a proposal at this time, but they're being proactive.
We're putting those regulations in to put some baseline restrictions in so that when they come to us with a plan, if they ever do, that we would be able to sit down and tell them what they can and can't put there, or what they have to put in as far as mitigating noise, light, water runoff, all the things to protect the citizens of Granite City.
Parkinson says, yes, he's been seeing what's happening in other communities, so they're trying to get ahead of it at tonight's city council meeting.
Could the backlash against data centers in the U.S. give other countries an edge on America? Former Maricopa County recorder Stephen Richards says he thinks it might.
Are we going to really yield all of this to probably China, who's going to power artificial intelligence of the future? I would say that's a legitimate national security concern.
He spoke with KMOX's Chris and Amy about the debate surrounding data center developments, largely about the concerns. Richard says it's clear AI is the future and there's a demand for what data centers create. However, he argues AI can't advance at an equal pace to demand if more centers aren't developed.
St. Louis County Prosecutor Melissa Price Smith unveiling a program called Infraction Diversion Program. IDP is designed to provide eligible people with constructive alternatives to traditional penalties for minor traffic and municipal offenses. Price Smith says the IDP reflects a commitment to restorative justice by addressing the root causes of traffic violations and fostering stronger, more positive relationships between residents and the legal system. She adds, by prioritizing education over punitive fines, the program aims to keep drivers safe, legal, and employed.
IDOT road crews are working on repairing the pothole that opened up on I-64 just past the Poplar Street Bridge. The large hole was covered over prior to the repairs beginning today. Engineer Joe Monroe says KMOX motorists have no reason to be wary of I-64.
There are no overlying safety concerns. It's an unfortunate situation, but we're making immediate necessary repairs. Obviously, we're taking the time to evaluate the structure while we have the lanes closed.
He adds it's early, but they estimate repairs will take closer to days than weeks to complete.
It's going to be a busy summer for road construction crews in Missouri, from the I-70 expansion project to repairs on rural roads. MoDOT engineer Chris Brownell says work zone fatigue is a real thing.
Construction season is just warming up. We have like 1,000 work zones that are going to be occurring this season in Missouri. I'll just say one thing. If you're a daily commuter, you go through a work zone every day, it can get old hat. You need to be very diligent in watching those things because work zones change all the time.
Brownell tells MissouriNet since 2035, MoDOT employees have lost their lives in the line of duty.
Well, we'll check the roads with Frank Ladd. Things are picking up in the St. Louis area. That's in 2 minutes at 7:56.
100 years, one legendary voice. We live KMOX's century of service. Classic audio, photos, videos, and more at KMOX100.com.
Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, located in St. Louis, yes, in Chesterfield Valley, but they cover the entire St. Louis metropolitan area, and they do it with style. They do it with outstanding customer service, and they've been doing it since 1968. This isn't just some company that came along yesterday. They've been around a long time, and they have had excellent service and reputation. The sign you have the very best. They use their own professionally trained installation crews, trucks and tools, operate out of their own 2 distribution warehouses and large showroom, which I highly recommend. They don't just do fences and decks. They do pergolas, sunrooms, screen rooms, patios, and more. Free in-home estimates. Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Financing options are available. Easy payment plans and plans up to 60 months, no interest. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive 20% off your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Presented by Worldwide Technology, the BizDash 5K is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, a high-energy corporate race in St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Thursday, May 7th at Energizer Park. Register your team at STLBizDash.com.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Here is Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the exit ramp from eastbound Highway 44 to Kings Highway partially blocked with an accident. So that's what's causing those delays back to about Hampton. Westbound on Highway 64, drivers are slowing to take a look at our gathering of people on the Tam Avenue overpass. That's what's causing the delays past Forest Park. Our next update at 8:10, Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's 56 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories Megan Lynch is working on. Supporters say a new proposal could spur development and bring new residents to innovation zones in Missouri. Megan has details after the news.
The process to get a real ID is still a real headache for women. Maria Kina goes in depth.
A college admissions expert tells us what high school students really need to focus on to get their foot in the door.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A nice day today with sunshine and some high clouds. Breezy and warm this afternoon, high 83.
I'll be back at noon with Ollie Marmol, Bernie Miklas, and Chris Ranji on the Gas House Gang.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The U.S.-Iran ceasefire expires tomorrow, and President Trump's feeling bullish. He's brushing off concerns Iranian negotiators won't show up for a new round of talks in Pakistan. He tells CNBC.
They'll be sending them. They have no choice but to send them. What I think is that we're going to end up with a great deal.
Vice President Vance and other U.S. officials head to Islamabad today. Correspondent Imtiaz Tayyab is there.
Behind the scenes, sources tell us Iranian negotiators are under intense pressure from hardliners at home who say no direct talks until the U.S. lifts its blockade of Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, even if both sides do sit down, major gaps remain over Iran's nuclear program, its proxies in the region, and, of course, sanctions relief.
Iran's also been demanding the immediate release of its cargo ship the U.S. seized over the weekend. We're getting new details on yesterday's deadly incident at the ancient Teotihuacan pyramids outside Mexico City. Correspondent Sharika Duncan.
The state of Mexico Attorney General's office released the names, nationalities, and ages of the victims in Monday's shooting. They also just identified the shooter as Julio Cesar Hasso of Mexico.
A Canadian tourist was killed. 13 people ranging in age from 6 to 61 were injured, among them 6 American tourists. Officials say the shooter died by suicide. President Trump's pick to head up the Federal Reserve, investor Kevin Warsh, goes before the Senate Banking Committee today. Economist Joseph Brusuelas has concerns.
Is he going to be the head of an independent central bank that will set rates in the best interest of the economy? Or is he a member of the Trump administration? He simply can't be both.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell's term ends May 15th. Another jury has found Uber liable for a sexual assault by one of its drivers. CBS's Michael Wallace.
A North Carolina jury awarded a woman $5,000 after she accused her Uber driver of grabbing her inner thigh during a late-night ride in 2019. It's the second straight defeat for Uber as it faces more than 3,000 sexual assault lawsuits that have been consolidated in federal court.
Just announced on CBS Mornings, this year's National Teacher of the Year. It's Leon Smith, high school social studies teacher in Havertown, Pennsylvania.
It just means everything. I just have so much reverence for the teaching profession, and it's just such an honor to be able to represent teachers all over the country and really stand on the shoulders of so many others that have come before me.
Sixers legend Julius Erving, Dr. J, surprised him with a signed basketball.
Leon, how are you?
I'm doing so well.
Great, man.
This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
It might take time to think. They might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 56 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, April 21st. I'm Megan Lynch. Water rates in St. Louis City set to see a significant hike again.
Rates will be raised 18% twice, once this year, once next year, then 6% over each of the next 3 years, with two smaller increases in 2031 and 2032, according to a new press release from the Water Division. These hikes come not long after the Board of Aldermen raised rates 40% in 2023. President of the Board of Aldermen, Megan Green.
We are in a position where we have to raise rates again in order to make sure that the water department is solvent.
Asked if it is time to finally install water meters across the city so residents pay for what they use instead of their home size, Green says she is told meters would be a very costly infrastructure upgrade. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis's Civilian Oversight Board met last night, stripped of its authority to investigate police misconduct with no clear path forward. The state's police board attorney said in February the question of civilian oversight is already settled. Attorney Chris Grayville told the police board,
I do not believe, it is my legal opinion as general counsel, that we can have a citizen review board in the context of the way it was done before, where they reviewed officer cases.
Board member Sierra Simrel has been watching police board meetings on YouTube. She's been tracking how the state board is building its own complaint and discipline process. She told the board last night,
I don't feel like it's a negotiable item that should be taken off of the table for the citizens of St. Louis.
The state board's Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee meets at 2 p.m. today. A 20-year-old St. Louis woman has been charged in connection with a recent Steak and Shake drive-through shooting. It occurred in early April at the Steak and Shake location in the 11,000 block of Bellefontaine Road. Jada Bell now facing charges including first-degree murder of 32-year-old Chauncey Meekins. County police say Bell had a dispute with workers and threw a drink at Meekins through the drive-through window. Meekins was then reported to have thrown a drink back at Bell, who shot Meekins several times. Meekins' visitation set to take place 9 a.m. this morning with a funeral to follow. A food truck owner dead following a shooting at a food truck Sunday in Ferguson. 41-year-old Ronald Milton killed after police say someone in a vehicle opened fire into a crowd near the food truck. Two women also injured in the shooting, which took place around 6:30 Sunday evening. Milton's food truck, the Backyard Barbecue, was parked in a lot off Newhalls Ferry Road. Police don't have a suspect in custody at this time.
It will be condemned probably later on as soon as the drug results are officially sent down to City Hall.
St. Louis Police Major Michael Mueller on the first smoke shop and market at Jefferson and Arsenal, which is boarded up. Following Sunday night's double shooting, 2 people were injured, 1 critically.
St. Louis police seized gambling machines, a large quantity of marijuana, chocolate bars with THC, and an AR-15 rifle with a high-capacity magazine. Major Michael Mueller says the building is being condemned because the owner, who had not been located as yet, is not licensed to sell marijuana products.
When you have a high-capacity, a rifle with a high-capacity magazine, you already had a shooting here. You have a park right across the street, families on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, it could have went really bad for everybody.
The alderwoman for the area, Alicia Saunier, saw to it that the first smoke shop was boarded up immediately. As to who that owner is, police will not say. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Brownwell says more than 1,000 work zones will be happening in Missouri this construction season. As spring and summer approaches, Missouri drivers headed into one of the busiest seasons the state has ever seen. Chris Brownell is an engineer with Missouri Department of Transportation. He tells MissouriNet construction workers and MoDOT workers are just feet away from traffic.
One thing is the speed differential. That is such a big deal. Speed limit's 55, some adhere to that, but if some go 70, there's just no time to react. And a lot of times those lanes are maybe a little narrower, so the margin of error is a little tighter.
From the KMOX Business Desk, a pause on KSDK Channel 5 becoming part of Fox 2 and KPLR. A federal judge has blocked Nexstar's $6 billion acquisition of fellow broadcaster Tegna. The preliminary injunction will be in place while the attorneys general of 8 states investigate an antitrust complaint. Nexstar says it will appeal the ruling. The FCC waived a cap that bars companies from owning stations that reach more than 39% of households. The combined company would reach more than 80% of households. The federal judge said stopping stopping the deal is in the public interest. We'll check traffic and weather coming up in 2 minutes here on Total Information AM. It's 8:08.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renters also hire experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's the latest tool available at supplement superstores to get you moving down the path you want to when it comes to being in great shape. This is not a fat burner. It is a complete metabolism system. It's Burn Balance Edge for the guys, Burn Balance Zen for the ladies. So make sure you ask for the right one when you go in. But what this does is makes your body work the right way. So what I've noticed in a short amount of time so far, metabolism is great. I mean, you're starting to feel, in fact, I can feel it. Shirts are fitting a little looser. The belt pulls a little tighter. And on top of that metabolism boost, you're also getting some reductions in stress and cortisol levels. You're getting appetite control, craving control throughout the day, all day focused energy with no jitters and crash. And look, it isn't magic. You need to do the work. But I'll tell you this, it's a good assistant. It helps a lot to make the right decisions. So if you want long-lasting results, go to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Coming up on Total Information AM, Missouri's looking at a new framework to coordinate development and gain some new residents. We're going to talk it over coming up after traffic and weather. Let's start with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Megan, we're seeing delays eastbound on Highway 44 from before Arsenal up to this accident at Kings Highway. The ramp is partially blocked there. Looks like we got a through lane blocked as well eastbound on Highway 44 now. That's right at Kings Highway. The protesters or whatever it was have cleared off at the Tam Avenue overpass. So westbound 64 drivers have nothing to look at there passing Forest Park. So that's opening up rather quickly. Eastbound on Highway 64, you've got some delays now approaching 170. Those start from before McKnight and extend up to about Big Bend. We're thinning out southbound on 170, making your way down towards Highway 64. Still seeing delays northbound and southbound on Route 3, but those are easing approaching the Poplar Street Bridge. Not quite as bad approaching Monsanto. We do have delays into downtown St. Louis coming around the bend. Westbound on 5564 from Route 3 into downtown St. Louis, crossing the Poplar. Northbound on Highway 55, that right lane bunches up approaching the Poplar as they're still working on the bridge deck eastbound on 5564 on the east side of the Poplar Street Bridge on the Metro East there. Those delays were very apparent yesterday afternoon as you had some lane closures due to that emergency bridge deck repair. Our next traffic update at 8:20, Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A nice day today, sunshine through some high clouds at times, a breezy, warmer afternoon, high 83. Mainly clear and mild tonight, though 58. Mostly sunny and warm tomorrow, high 80. Thursday, partly sunny, breezy and warm, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now, we do have sunny skies, 56 degrees in Florissant, 58 in St. Peters, 56 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. A proposal to create innovation zones is gaining traction in the Missouri legislature. In a nutshell, in return for development incentives and tax breaks, communities would agree to eliminate some red tape. The original version also proposed eliminating state income tax for people who move into an innovation zone. Let's get the latest on this with Jeff Smith, Executive Director of the Missouri Workforce Housing Association. Jeff, thanks for your time this morning.
You're welcome. Good morning, Megan. How are you?
I'm doing well. I know I just skimmed the surface of this. Give us a broader view of what's included in this proposal.
Sure. Well, broadly speaking, it's sort of like an RFP for the whole state. It gives developers who want to do business in Missouri a predictable, stable, and certain framework to do so that they don't have 13 different decision points or have to go through a ton of different people, but they can go through a single one-stop shop. And if they apply for state incentives, they can just go one place and kind of know this is what I need to do to get state incentives for a particular development. We think that if it's successful and if it does pass, then it will stimulate over $1 billion in redevelopment very quickly in St. Louis City.
So a big part of this is office to residential conversion projects. Why that?
Well, it's a big issue in St. Louis right now. Over 30% of office space in St. Louis is vacant. And there's a lot of buildings that in the wake of the pandemic are just sitting unused. And look at the Railway Exchange building, look at the Chemical building, look at the AT&T Tower. You get huge buildings that are right in the core of the Central Business District, and they don't contribute much. They don't contribute anything in terms of tax revenue. There aren't people living in them. There aren't people working in them. And no developer has touched them for years because they can't get a project to actually pencil out and make sense financially. Having an incentive program so that developers can get a tax credit in order to convert them from office space to residential can get those deals in motion, can bring thousands of people back living in the Central Business District, and that hopefully will attract more restaurants and other shops to come back and relocate into downtown instead of the exodus from downtown that we've seen in recent years.
I know St. Louis city leaders had some reservations about this when it was first pitched, particularly about local control. Have those concerns been addressed?
So I don't want to speak for city government, but I know that St. Louis City isn't opposing the bill, in the legislature, and a lot of different, advocates in St. Louis City are strongly supportive of the bill. Greater St. Louis, which is the regional business association, is working hard to try to get the bill passed. And everybody agrees that this office conversion tax credit that you referenced is going to be a boon for the city, but not just for St. Louis. There's things in the bill that will be statewide in scope and not just help downtowns like St. Louis, but also help small towns around the state that, frankly, in a lot of parts of the state, in rural Missouri, are dying off. This will be a shot in the arm for them, just as it will be for the Central Business District in St. Louis.
How do you attract the kind of residents that will sustain long-term growth? One of the criticisms that's been leveled at this is that the types of individuals that might move into these types of office to apartment conversions would be affluent empty nesters, when demographers are telling us we need young families to move in.
Well, that's exactly one of the criteria in the master scorecard in the bill, which the state will use to determine which developments or which proposed developments will earn some of the tax abatement, some of the support. Family-friendly design and family-friendly amenities are one of those criteria. So that's exactly who we're trying to attract, our young families, and it will give the ability for developers who cater to young families to retain a big chunk of the taxes that they would typically send to the state. And instead of sending, let's say, $500,000 of tax revenue to the state, they would get to keep half of that, say $250,000, and invest that money into security, into more police in the Central Business District downtown, into more signage, surveillance cameras, public infrastructure, the kinds of things that will make downtown a more livable community. So I think to address the question that you said, that you posed, the criteria that are in place in the bill will attract the very kinds of families that you said demographers say St. Louis needs to attract.
Who would be in charge of this? You mentioned, and I've read through a lot of the material that, part of the point of this is cutting through some of the red tape in each of these municipalities, one-stop shop for these developers. Who would be doing that, and do they have the resources to oversee this?
Well, it's up to the city and the executive branch of government in the city, the mayor's office, to be in charge of applying. Every city in the state would have the opportunity to create its own innovation zone and to apply to the state government, who would then, the Department of Economic Development, be responsible for approving the innovation zone in each state. So it's the city itself needs to kind of put together a proposal saying, hey, here's the boundaries of our central business district. Here's our vision. Here's what we need to do to make it safer and more livable and more vibrant. And then it's up to the state to give like a formal approval, which then would turn on the potential incentives to allow new development in that area to retain and kind of capture a lot of the tax revenue that it would typically be sending to the state, but then reinvest that right here in the community.
Realistically, how long would it take to reap rewards if this is passed by the Missouri legislature?
That's a great question. I mentioned a few of the projects that are kind of in limbo, if you will. I mentioned the AT&T Tower, the Muni Courts building, the chemical building, the Railway Exchange building. There are a lot of buildings that have developers that are just waiting and watching to see if this bill passes, because having a tax credit dedicated to office conversion, even though it's only going to be a small component of the broad capital stack to make one of these proposals actually work financially, it will create tons. If you put in, say, $10 million of state tax credits into one of these proposals, that can spark a $100 million development proposal. So a ton of economic activity. Based on what we've been hearing from the owners of some of the buildings that I referenced, within probably 18 months of this bill's passage, you'll start seeing shovels in the ground and cranes in the air in downtown St. Louis working on some of those buildings.
Okay, so this is headed for the Senate. It's House Bill 3231, anyone who wants to track it. Jeff, thank you so much for taking time to try to boil this down for us.
Hey, Megan, thanks so much for your interest in it. And let's hope that St. Louis rallies behind it over the next few weeks and contacts their state senators to let them know their support.
That is Jeff Smith, Executive Director of the Missouri Workforce Housing Association, joining us this morning here on KMOX. Let's get another update on the roads. There's a lot going on out there that's in your way, frankly. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Megan. Eastbound on Highway 44 is the big trouble spot this morning, dealing with an accident at the Kings Highway exit, partially blocking that ramp. You can get around the accident scene, but they do have the right lane on the highway, the right through lane blocked, as well as the right shoulder eastbound on Highway 44, coming around the bend, making your way towards the Kings Highway. You're backed up to about Jamison now, eastbound on Highway 44. The other trouble spot is your normal one, northbound on Highway 55. Those delays start at Bayless and extend up through Loughborough, through that road construction zone into downtown St. Louis. Still seeing some volume crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. Still have that bridge deck repair going on the eastbound lanes, eastbound 5564 crossing the Poplar. So that's what's going to cause you problems this afternoon. Westbound on Highway 64, you're going to hit the brakes now west of the Science Center out to about McCausland. Southbound 170 remains heavy in that left lane approaching Highway 64. Northbound on Highway 270, you still have some volume in pockets between Gravois and Doherty Ferry. Back on the brakes again, Manchester Road, making your way up towards the Clayton Road overpass and the Highway 64 exchange. We are brought to you by this morning by the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Our next traffic update at 8:30. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Still ahead on Total Information AM, frustration is mounting for women in Missouri who say they're still having a challenge getting a real ID. Maria Kina has that. First, though, the forecast for you. Sunny today, a few high clouds, but breezy and warmer this afternoon, a high of 83. Clear tonight with a low of 58. Right now, sunshine, 56 downtown at the Arch.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us, and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600. Or on the website, bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Hair volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Women in Missouri say they continue to hit a brick wall when they try to get a real ID. KMOX's Maria Kina has more.
Missouri's DMV requires a birth certificate to obtain a real ID, but for Michelle, who had a common law marriage in Georgia 42 years ago and remarried her second husband in Missouri, that meant she had more than one last name, and that's where the trouble started.
I have all 3 Social Security cards. Had them. I had to have 2 utility bills with my address on it. I took my bank statement with me, but nobody should need all that to get a driver's license.
Because when I talked with them in the Secretary of State's office, they said all that's really required is your birth certificate, yet they made you go through all kinds of hoops.
Because my name's not the same as when I was born. It's not my maiden name off my birth certificate, which is really scary because I actually was adopted, and I used to have my adoption papers, but they're long gone. After I was adopted, my birth certificate was changed. But I have 2 birth certificates. I have one prior to adoption and one after adoption. Oh my God, I'm just like insanity.
Because in this situation, you had everything that supposedly you needed, but then they still were blocking you on this. What did they tell you in Jeff City with all this, how messed up it was?
Yeah, they said what I had, if they went, and I had to bring my complete set of certified divorce papers. I had just tossed out the original set 2 years ago. It was 40 years old. I'm like, who needs divorce papers from 40 years ago? And then came where I needed paperwork to prove that I had, where my name had changed. And then they could see on the full divorce papers, if you read the whole thing, it explained that my name had, that where I decided to keep the married name, and that alone should have been, they were like, once they read through everything I had, and the simple fact that I had a Social Security card, the actual cards from my maiden name, I had the card in my first married name, and I had the card in my second married name. That alone should have showed it was legit, because Social Security, they don't send out a card unless it's legit. They were just amazed. They're like, that alone would have said, okay, I had to have all of it. And then they still turned me away, and I came home and called the lady in Jeff City, and they called the DMV office where I was and told them, approve her. She is approved. She has all the proof she needs to prove that she went through those names.
The other thing about this is it's really only affecting women because women are the only ones that change their name.
Exactly. Look at men now, and I'm just like, they're like, oh, what are you whining about? I'm like, sure, birth certificate and driver's license is all you need, right? Where's the paper trail you got to have? Why am I penalized because I took your name? Then why do I have to take your name if it's so important that my name has to match my birth certificate?
So the bottom line, if you run into a blockade like Michelle did, contact Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins' office. Because while your real ID is needed to fly, you do not need it to vote. A regular non-expired Missouri driver or non-driver license is acceptable, and to get that real ID, you do need a birth certificate. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Thank you, Maria. It's now 8:28, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
At St. Louis Composting, they like to say growing gardens and making memories. This is Tom Ackerman. St. Louis Composting is certainly making memories for us. We have a fresh layer of mulch throughout the yard, flower beds, and trees. It's going to make everything pop, and it looks great. They actually delivered it to our home, and we had the mulch spread back in March, and here we are in April. Everything looks brand new and great. We went with the color-enhanced dark walnut mulch. It's one of about a dozen different mulches you can choose from St. Louis Composting's website, stlcompost.com. Even better, they have a cubic yard calculator that we were able to use to determine exactly how much mulch we needed. You can also order compost and soil, any of their 9 locations in the St. Louis area, or you can do what we did, which is just have it delivered. STLcompost.com, STLcompost.com. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Step into a fresher, cleaner home this spring with Zero Res. Spring is a time for renewal. Let Zero Res help you refresh your home with clean carpets, fresh floors, and improved air quality. Check out all of the raving customer reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating. This week, buy 1 room of carpet cleaned, get 1 room of carpet cleaned for free. Unlimited rooms. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norb Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
8:31. Let's get the latest on the roads. There have been some problems out there this morning. Frank Ladd has the latest for us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Megan, crews are still on the scene of this crash eastbound Highway 44 at the Kings Highway exit. That exit ramp is still partially blocked, but the right through lane is back open eastbound on Highway 44. So your delays that had been back to about Jamison now are easing passing the accident scene. So that's the good news eastbound on 44. Westbound on 64, you still have that pocket of volume at Hampton that extends out to about Clayton Skinker. You got a stop and go stretch northbound on Highway 270 north of 44 up to about Big Bend. Sluggish north of there, making your way past Manchester Road all the way up through the Highway 64 exchange. Westbound on 5564, still some volume crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. You got some off-the-pace stretches there between the Eads Bridge split and downtown St. Louis. We've thinned out on Route 3 approaching the Poplar. Our next traffic update at 8:40. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Frank. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it's going to be a sunny day today, breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Right now, we have sunshine 56 downtown at the Arch. Amnesty International out with its latest annual assessment of the state of the world's human rights.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Agnes Calamard, the French-born head of Amnesty International, says the rules-based global order is no longer in danger of being overthrown.
Actually, it is happening.
And it is happening, she says, because other world leaders have responded to these ever more aggressive autocrats with appeasement.
Which basically means that they have all been cowards.
The worst cowards, she says, EU leaders. Amnesty says they could be doing more to push back against the anti-democratic autocrats whom the Amnesty report names as Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Benjamin Netanyahu. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Your money report is coming up next. It's 8:33.
Ready to refresh your
Gravois
space with
Bluffs.
furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Your money report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Amazon is facing antitrust allegations. According to a newly unsealed court document, California is accusing Amazon of pressuring major brands such as Levi's into a price-fixing scheme that may have impacted prices across competing retailers, including Walmart, Target, and Home Depot. The lawsuit alleges that vendors were pressured to increase prices on rival websites or face consequences. Amazon calls the case weak. Checking on the market, stocks are in the green. Traders are watching every development out of Iran. The Federal Reserve's future is also in focus. Kevin Warsh is President Trump's pick to chair the central bank, and his confirmation hearing is this morning. And shares of Alaska Air are lower in early trading, the carrier forecasting a deeper loss than Wall Street expected for this quarter. Airlines around the world have been dealing with soaring jet fuel prices due to the war. Alaska expects the cost of fuel will add roughly $600 million to its expenses. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Tom Ackerman for the great company, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. 1926, a century of service. Here's to the garage door, the largest piece of moving equipment in our home. The garage door, you know, sometimes we take it for granted. It goes up, it goes down. You just rely on it every single day to do what it does. Well, what if it doesn't someday? That would be a problem. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis will keep your garage door reliable by checking it out. Just get it tuned up, make sure that it's running smoothly, and they can do it for any brand. You don't have to get it from them. Any brand of garage door, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis will take care of that for you. Same-day service, too. 314-781-5200. 314-781-5200. And don't be fooled by the imposters out there. There's only one Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the one with the red ribbon. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Growing a brand is hard, but reaching the right customers shouldn't be. Meet Outcomes from Viant. We've built an intelligent platform that handles the complexity of digital advertising for you. Powered by advanced AI, we help your brand show up in the right places at the right time and ensure that every dollar you spend leads to a real business result. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Fired St. Louis Public School Superintendent Keisha Scarlett suing the district, saying she was actually a whistleblower flagging unpaid invoices. Singer David has pleaded not guilty to a murder charge in the death of a 14-year-old girl who authorities say was found dismembered in his Tesla last year. And 2 Southwest Airlines planes had to take evasive action to avoid colliding Saturday in Nashville, Tennessee, after an air traffic controller directed one pilot to turn into the path of the other plane. Let's see how things are moving on the roads and if we're seeing any improvement at all. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Megan, just a little bit. We are seeing fewer delays headed northbound on Highway 55, approaching that work zone near Loughborough. It's headed into South City, so that's good news. Starting to ease up just a little bit as volume makes its way north, headed towards downtown St. Louis. Eastbound on Highway 44, still some volume approaching this accident scene at Hampton, and looks like that ramp is still partially blocked. I'm watching one of the emergency vehicles pull down the ramp right now, but that ramp is still partially blocked. So you've got a little bit of a slowdown there. The through lanes are back open eastbound on Highway 44 at Kings Highway, and those delays that had extended back to about Jameson and Shrewsbury are gone. Westbound on Highway 64, you've got a pocket of volume at the Hampton Avenue overpass. Eastbound on Highway 64, pockets of volume now between Clayton Warson and Big Bend. Northbound on Highway 270, easing as well between 44 and Manchester, headed up towards Highway 64, just sluggish through that stretch. I'm Frank Ladd with traffic in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
We should have a nice sunny day today. It will be warmer, though. We're expecting a high around 83 degrees today. Clear skies with an overnight low around 58. And then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine. It's going to be a warm day as well, a high around 80. Right now, we have sunny skies, 59 degrees downtown at the Arch. If your child is in the process of choosing a college, you have just entered a new realm of stress. We're going to give you some help this morning. Beth Heller-Agelis is co-founder of Acceptance Ahead and author of the new book, Crazy for College. And she's also the mom of a WashU St. Louis graduate. So welcome to KMOX.
Thank you so much for having me, Megan.
Now, I know you have several kids that have navigated this process. I am an older parent, and I just can't believe how much things have changed from the time I was in college. You know, it's probably even changed in the last decade. What are some of the top things that parents need to know?
So it's an excellent question, and there have been seismic changes in the admissions landscape. I'll just start with application volume. Back when most parents applied to school, they submitted 5 or 6 applications on paper. They had to find stamps in a mailbox. 10 years ago, it was more like 8 to 10 applications. But in the last 5 years, that number has just creeped up, and it's perfectly normal. Take a deep breath for kids to submit up to 20 applications. But colleges never changed how many students they're admitting. They didn't add seats or beds to dorms. So the acceptance rates totally plummeted. And it's not a math problem. It's just that there are so many more applications. I was just out in California last week talking to parents of kids who apply to the UC schools. They're seeing upwards of 120,000 applications with admit rates in the single digit. So it becomes a numbers game. And also social media has just absolutely destroyed any kind of privacy that families have. I think that it's creating more noise, more stress, more anxiety in young adults because everybody knows who's applying where in real time, who's wearing what sweatshirts to high school and walking down the halls and talking about where they got in or where they hope they're going to get in. And so nothing remains private. And then there's this whole realm, I could talk to you for hours, just about uncertainty. Parents don't know what test optional means. When COVID happened, schools very thankfully introduced test optional policies, which expanded pools and access to these schools. But many schools have retained these policies and parents are unsure, should my kid submit these test scores? Will it hurt? Does it match their GPA and the rest of their transcript? So that's creating a lot of uncertainty and noise and discomfort, along with a new buzzword that is called holistic review, which means kids are getting evaluated outside of academics, but parents don't know what that means, and it tends to be very subjective. So all of these things are creating a lot of stress and uncertainty in the process.
It almost sounds like a full-time job to get into college these days. What would you say are the first steps? Like, what are the first one or two things that a family needs to do to start this process?
So I always go back to, let's remember that our kids are in high school, and high school really isn't a 4-year audition for college. We have to remember that we live in a challenging world. We want them to grow up and be wonderful young adults. So it's really important that we give them agency, not just around the college process, but just around what courses they're choosing, what activities they like to do. My business partner and I at Acceptance Ahead don't take on families until their child is in the spring of 10th grade, because it's too soon to start having a conversation about college. The kids who get through this process in the best way have figured out what they love to do. The kids who really run through high school in the first several years, exploring lots of different activities and classes and figuring out, what really motivates me? What am I looking forward to on a Tuesday afternoon? What am I talking about nonstop on the bus ride home with friends or with parents at the dinner table? And then we want to encourage those kids to lean into those interests. When we applied to college as parents, it was really important to be well-rounded. But now in 2026, colleges are looking for well-rounded classes built up of angular students. They want kids to go deep in 2 or 3 things that are meaningful to the kids, whether that's in activities or academics or a combination of that. So we try to postpone the talk about college until kids have figured out who they are and what they love to do. And the word college should not enter the conversation until December or January of junior year, after they have some test scores, if they're taking a test or even a diagnostic test to see where they're trending and what their grades are like, because the junior year grades are probably the most important part of the transcript.
How much of this should be directed by the student themselves, and mom and dad stay out of it for a while?
Excellent question. The students who get through this process the best, with the most self-confidence, have parents who don't act like air traffic controllers, but more like passengers in the back seat of their car. We don't want them totally checking out, because I think they do need encouragement and support and someone there to recognize small wins or mistakes or even moments of failure to help them build resilience. But since these kids are applying to college and they're going off for the first time and building independence and skills like resilience, we want them to take ownership of this.
You mentioned some of those intangible things that colleges may look at depending, on the university. I know so many kids that, for example, they're involved in National Honor Society or other groups that have all these requirements they have to fill. How much of that really matters in the college admissions process?
So it all depends on the student, and it depends on where they want to go to school. we always believe that the number one thing kids should focus on is what they love to do and not do anything because they think it looks good on a college application. Then it tends to go off the rails. So if a student is being recognized by something wonderful like National Honor Society, and there are requirements, and it's important for them to have that recognition, I think following up with some of the requirements is a good thing. We work with kids who have requirements with community service hours. If they're doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, maybe they're working with senior citizens one afternoon, but then the next month they're working with younger kids. We try to focus on one or two things so that their community service tells a story. I'm always going back to what's your narrative? What do you care about the most? And some of these requirements that schools initiate for things like National Honor Society or for community service tend to lead to wonderful, wonderful discoveries for these kids because maybe they've never had exposure to the Parks and Rec department or a senior citizen community center. And they realize, you know what? I love speaking with older people.
What else can you tell us about your book, Crazy for College, and what parents will get out of it?
I wrote the book because I have seen a lot of parents be motivated by fear. They're worried that their kid is not going to get into college, or where they go to college will determine the rest of their life. And I include stories of these families. I include stories from when I applied to college back in the Stone Ages, and from shepherding my own 3 kids through college. I still have a daughter who's a junior in college, because I think I wanted parents to realize they are not alone. I wanted to give permission for everybody to laugh at themselves. And again, remind everybody that this is just one chapter in a much longer, hopefully beautiful life that your child will have. And along the way, I have interviewed lots of folks in admissions, some at WashU in St. Louis and some around the country at all sorts of different schools, because I think having that perspective tends to relax people and so they understand what's going on. I also include lots of tidbits about how to apply and what matters, because when parents have that kind of clarity about the things that really do matter and the things they can safely let go of, that again also I think decreases the craziness and the worry.
Great. Beth, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Megan. Great meeting you.
That's Beth Heller-Gillis, co-founder of Acceptance Ahead and author of the new book, Crazy for College, which comes out next month. Still ahead on Total Information AM, Operation Relentless Pursuit rounded up 1,500 suspected felons in its first year. We'll get more next.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
This is Tom Ackerman. Each quarter, McKelvey Homes donates $1,898, $1898, the year they were founded, to a nonprofit. President Jim Brennan.
Our nephew Dave Auer has joined us, and he's heading up a renovation group for McKelvey Homes. Their son, Kalina and Dave, have a little boy named Wade, and when he was born 2.5 years ago, he had some hearing loss. It was diagnosed at 3 months. And the hospital referred him to the Moog Center for Deaf Education. Rose and I just toured it last week, and we were so impressed with Betsy Moog Brooks and the fine work they do. Dave tells me that it was very scary for them. And the Moog Center has just done so many things to help kids learn to speak, learn to hear, and live a normal life. So we're happy to announce that's going to be our beneficiary for the second quarter.
To learn more, go to McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spamalot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Missouri Department of Public Safety Director Mark James says he wasn't sure what to expect when the anti-crime effort Operation Relentless Pursuit was launched a year ago. The Coordinated Law Enforcement Initiative is an effort to locate and apprehend fugitive subjects to felony arrest warrants. James describes the results of the first year as phenomenal. He tells Missouri Net's Sue Danielson that among the 1,500 arrests, there were more than 24 homicide suspects.
As you drill down and disaggregate those numbers to look at, well, what kind of people are the teams arresting? And included in that is 26 who were wanted for homicide. A lot of violent crimes, sex-related crimes, rapes, sex trafficking of children, sexual misconduct involving children, and child pornography, kidnapping, manslaughter, assaults, felony stealings, burglaries, robberies, unlawful use of weapons, all of these types of really significant violent type crimes. These are not just what we call warrant sweeps, where law enforcement goes out, and just picks up every failure to appear, bad check charge, this, that, or whatever. These are targeted, kind of the worst of the worst, if you will.
This is described as kind of a regional coordinated effort. It goes across multiple jurisdictions. Can you give me an idea or a ballpark number of how many different jurisdictions? Was it every corner of the state in between?
Yeah, so our teams have made arrests in 83 of the 114 counties and the city of St. Louis. So it has almost impacted every county in the state. And this is being done with just 18 full-time people whose day in, day out job is Operation Relentless Pursuit. So full-time every day, focused on the mission, is a highway patrol, Division of Drug and Crime Control, criminal investigator, one per each of the 9 troop areas, and partnered with that person is a full-time county deputy sheriff. And so while they are the full-time every day, this is your responsibility. They are probably daily doing this type of work in concert with many more sheriff's departments, deputies, local police, federal agencies, the U.S. Marshal Service, and what have you. So it's almost like a day-to-day arrest by arrest ad hoc posse, if you will. These guys, the teams, locate the targets, and then they call for help. They ramp up the level of help needed to effect the arrest, to include, if they're very dangerous, SWAT teams, aircraft, Bearcats, use of explosives. They've had to do some explosives entries on some that, were barricaded type of deals. So it's a very reactive kind of force.
That's Missouri Department of Public Safety Director Mark James speaking with Missouri Net.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Safeguard yourself from the flu. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that people are 4 times as likely to have a heart attack and 5 times more likely to have a stroke in the month after having the flu. New research from the Statens Serum Institute in Copenhagen suggests flu vaccine may cut heart attack and stroke risk even when infection occurs. The research is published in the journal Eurosurveillance. I'm Margie Schaefer.
You know the rush when you reach that goal, when something you've worked for pays off. That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Tom Ackerman here for Tim and Tom Gamma and Gamma Tree Experts and their father, Frank, who's going to be 91 this year. That means that he started this business back when he was a teenager. Gamma Tree Experts back in 1954. What a great company. What a great run they've had. Gamma Tree Experts. GammaTree.com. You can find storm damage. You can find emerald ash borer treatment. Tree trimming and limbs are going to be hanging over parts of your home that you don't want them to when those storms come through. Have Gamma Tree Experts come over, identify the issue, and take care of it right away. They're the best in the business, no question about it. They've been handling homes and businesses in St. Louis for years. All you have to do is go to GammaTree.com to get yourself started and read all about the great things that they do for homes and businesses and municipalities around the area. GammaTree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's the latest tool available at Supplement Superstores to get you moving down the path you want to when it comes to being in great shape. This is not a fat burner. It is a complete metabolism system. It's Burn Balance Edge for the guys, Burn Balance Zen for the ladies. So make sure you ask for the right one when you go in. But what this does is makes your body work the right way. So what I've noticed in a short amount of time so far, metabolism is great. I mean, you're starting to feel, in fact, I can feel it. Shirts are fitting a little looser. The belt pulls a little tighter. And on top of that metabolism boost, you're also getting some reductions in stress and cortisol levels. You're getting appetite control, craving control throughout the day, all day focused energy with no jitters and crash. And look, it isn't magic. You need to do the work. But I'll tell you this, it's a good assistant. It helps a lot to make the right decisions. So if you want long-lasting results, go to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Let's see if things are winding down. It's been kind of a crazy morning out there. Frank Ladd has the latest for you on your ride into work from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Megan, it has been a busy morning, and we do have a new crash reported. I can't see any lane blockage, but it's eastbound on Highway 64 reportedly right at Boone's Crossing. So you got a little bit of a hesitation slow down there, and that's just approaching Top Golf. Headed east of there, a great run, eastbound 64 coming up the hill, headed towards 141, Highway 270. Thinned out completely northbound on Highway 270 between 55 and 44. Still some lingering pockets of volume now between Big Bend, Doherty Ferry, Manchester, headed up towards the Clayton Road overpass and Highway 64. Getting better as well through that road work zone, just a little off the pace, crossing the river to Pear, northbound on 55 north there. A great run towards downtown St. Louis. Still some volume crossing the Poplar Street Bridge as well. That's westbound 5564. Crews are still working on that emergency bridge deck repair. That's eastbound 5564 on the Illinois side of the Poplar Street Bridge, just past Route 3. You see some caution there. It has a lane down, and that's what caused all the problems yesterday afternoon headed to the Metro East. East and westbound 70 out in St. Charles County look good, as do east and westbound 64 from Highway 70 headed towards the Boone Bridge. I'm Frank Ladd with traffic in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100